Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to Elets Digital Governance Summit, Gujarat State Edition, presented to you by Microsoft India and organized by Elets Technomedia. Elets Technomedia is South Asia's prime knowledge consultancy organization that has been involved in creating powerful knowledge platforms across the globe for the past nearly 2 decades. The company has dedicated itself to the task of documenting the journey of India on the road to development through its four magazines eGov, eHealth, BFSI, and Digital Learning. ELETS provides a powerful platform where ideas are born, policies are debated, improvements mulled over, lacunas highlighted, solutions offered, and achievements celebrated. It was ELETS E-India Summit in 2011 when Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the then CM of Gujarat, gave his iconic success mantra to the nation: IT plus IT is equal to information technology plus Indian talent is equal to India tomorrow. I warmly welcome you to the Digital Governance Summit. I, I welcome Dr. Ravi Gupta, our CEO and founder of Elets Technomedia. Warm welcome to you, sir. Kindly present your remarks on this Digital Governance Summit and lay the context for the summit. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Priya. Namaskar. I'm Ravi Gupta. I'm founder and CEO of Elets Technomedia Private Limited. We are the founders of Ego Magazine, which is India's and Asia's first and only magazine on e-commerce. We also bring out public presentations around e-health and digital learning and also on banking and finance. And our mission is to create awareness about ICTs and how ICTs and IT can help in bringing a change in human lives, especially for the poorer sections of the society. Today, we are here with the Digital Governance Summit, Gujarat edition. We have been organizing these state summits across the country in virtual mode in the COVID situation. And before COVID, we were doing several of these state conferences, state summits, and the physical mode. Today, we are honored to have several leaders of the Gujarat state, several policymakers who are making an impact through the usage of IT in their departments. We are honored to have Mr. Rishikesh Ganesh Bhai Patel, who is the Honorable Minister, Health and Family Welfare, Medical Education, Water Resources and Water Supply, Government of Gujarat, who is the chief guest of the summit of today. I welcome him. And I request him to give the chief guest address. And after this address, we will have uh, sessions by industry leaders from Microsoft and the several experts from Gujarat. So, handing over to the Honorable Minister, uh, Shri Rishikesh Ganesh Bhai Patel ji. Thanks for joining us. Namaskar.
Thank you. First of all, I congratulate ILETS Techno Media and Microsoft India for organizing Digital Governance Summit, Gujarat today. The first 21st century is considered to be the century of knowledge and technology. In the age of technology, the use of information in an easy way, facilitating the flow of information to the people is the only true development. Our visionary Prime Minister Sri Narendra Bhai Modi has launched the Digital India Mission, recognizing the demands and needs of the time, during which many initiatives have been taken to digitalize many government services and other services. Various government services, facilities, and procedures have been digitalized by the Gujarat government under the Digital Gujarat Mission to become a participant in the invitees. Germany's Gujarat Epidemic Research Response Management Information System dashboard service was launched online by the Health Department of Government of Gujarat when the distance from person to person increased in different situations of corona, bed, oxygen, ventilator, availability of RT-PCR in corona, designated government and private hospital under Germany's real-time updates of other infrastructure and health services, including availability needs, waiting was shown. The TECO Plus technology-enabled community health operations services is working to improve health services in rural areas of the state and make health facilities accessible to every citizen through which real-time health data entry is done by ASHA workers, healthcare workers, and CHO. A health portal has been set up to manage the human resources of the health department, which maintains database of government and contract-based personnel of health department. 1100 telemedicine helpline was activated by the health department in corona epidemic. So these telemedicines 24/7 services, home-based medical guidance has become available to many patients in the state. At present, Ayush Health and Wellness Center has a telemedicine services across the state through e-Sanjeev portals through which the health facility is becoming available to the help from far and wide of the state sitting at home. In addition, facilities like empowerment, claims, grievances, redressal have been made available online through the online portal of PMJY by the health department. Apart from this, the health services and facilities have been done in the state health department by operating dashboard for health services such as nutrition and non-communicable disease. The government has taken continuous steps to make finger points health services available to the citizens of the state. As a result, the health and well-being of the citizens has increased from the year 2017. The state water supply department has set up a 24/7 hour control center by activating the toll-free numbers 196 helpline number for problems and information regarding water in rural areas. The government of Gujarat is committed to increase public welfare by providing maximum government services and facility as its fingertips. As per the world is going for the technology maximum utilizing in government and governance, we are trying to best, and our technology and visionary Prime Minister Modi sir is trying to in every sector. They are trying for the best possible technology use in government sector. We are trying in Gujarat and services for people and Gujarat state public related any issue. We are trying and making the best with the technology to the service of Gujarat peoples.
कई लोगों के सपने जिन कंधों पे टिके हों, उन कंधों को मजबूत रखना हम जानते हैं। इनकी उम्मीदों की जमा पूंजी को सेफ रखना हम जानते हैं 50,000 स्क्वायर फुट की फैक्ट्री अपने 2 बेडरूम के घर से चलाना हम जानते हैं 9 से 5 की नौकरी के बाद 5 से 9 वाला बिजनेस भी करना हम जानते हैं किसी के ब्राइट फ्यूचर के लिए फ्यूचर का इस्तेमाल करना।
Dear Ms. Sharma, we are pleased to offer you the position of senior analyst in our organization.
हम जानते हैं हम आज का इंडिया है बॉस, और इतना तो सब मानते हैं कि हम रुकना नहीं जानते हैं।
Welcome back, everyone. We now move on to the first session of the day, panel discussion, delivering urban innovation and trusted digital services. The panel discussion will mull over how public and government engagement can be made more accessible for everyone, everywhere through compliant technology and capabilities, and how to promote the use of sustainable and collaborative practices that support frontline government workers. I welcome my colleague Garima Pant to please take over the next session for the day.
Governance Summit Gujarat edition in being organized in association with Microsoft. And we have the pleasure of having with us Mr. Arun Mahesh Babu, who is the Collector of Rajkot. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we have Mr. Vijay Kharadi, Municipal Commissioner, Municipal Corporation, Jamnagar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
So, and we have Mr. Namit Sinha, Head Government Vertical, Microsoft India. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much. So, over to you, Mr. Sinha, to take the discussions forward.
Thank you, Garima, and thank you, Mr. Babu. Thank you, Mr. Vijay, for joining us for this panel discussion on modernization of government-owned utilities and bringing operational efficiency for better citizen deliveries for our citizens, for your various cities and various urban local bodies that you all are managing. I'm here to have this discussion with you in terms of getting some ideas, getting some views, getting some thought leadership from all of you in terms of the various work and various things that you are doing in your respective cities, respective areas, and then get some ideas, get some best practices that we can kind of roll it out across the cities and take the learning from one place to another. That's the objective of these kind of panel discussion, to cross leverage and learn from each other in terms of what are the best practices that's working in one particular place and how do we kind of replicate the success in other parts as well. So with that in mind, if I may begin by asking Mr. Vijay Kharadi, you manage, you are the Municipal Commissioner for Jamnagar. So if I may ask you, what are some of the noteworthy transformation in the function of urban local bodies in Gujarat amidst the digital revolution that you're seeing going on in India? So what are the things that you have used in your city, in your municipal corporation? If you can give us some ideas, maybe we can get this conversation started.
Yeah. So thank you so much for inviting me as a Municipal Commissioner Jamnagar. If we talk about the Municipal Corporation of Jamnagar, there are lots of different things of ICT related is going on. One of the things that we have introduced, because one of the important thing is always how you proactively govern your city. So one of the things that we are managing is a real-time complaint management system, because there is lots of complaints comes from the people, and they have always another complaint that this municipalities never bother about the complaints that we are putting in. So what we have done is we have putting in timeline also within hours, within 24 hours, or maybe if there is a water supply lines or there is a drainage line, it will take some for 5 days or 7 days. So what we have done is that whenever anybody pinch for the complaint, it will directly goes to the cutting edge. That is our SSI or our ward engineer or those person who are actually handle the complaint. So it's not like that this complaint comes to the commissioner portal or maybe deputy commissioner portal and after 24 hours they will just forward it. So it's directly goes to the cutting edge level and they are directly going to the sites, visit it and solving it. So one of improvement that we have made about this system is about the complaint, so that people have lot of things and people also understand that the government is sensitive enough to solve their complaints.
Okay.
Yeah. So along with that, there are a few other things that we are doing as far as JMC is concerned. So JMC have their own mobile application also. JMC have their own website also. Along with that, we are also strengthening our tax collection system because this revenue model system of every municipal corporation is very, very important. So what we have done is that we have putting all these things online. So whenever you're going to banks or our civic centers, or even do we have our mobile vines, which collects the taxes. So anybody who's going on banks and they want to pay our taxes, they are directly paying from their banks also. Even we have routing our mobile vans also according to demands of the people and demands of the corporators. So when this mobile swan goes to this area, they are also collecting the taxes through the vans also. So all these things we are had done. Along with that, we do have our vehicle tax also. So vehicle dealers, we have given the access of login to the vehicle dealer also. So people do not have come to the corporation for their tax, and they are directly paying it to the vehicle dealers also. Along with that, we have architect login also for our development permission. So anybody who want to take development permission, they directly log in and take a development permission. So that there is lots of things that we have doing is, and at the end of the day, what we want is that the people should not come to the corporation. It should be look like a faceless system. People will definitely log in from their home or their workplace, and whatever work they want to do or want to make from the corporation, they directly benefit from that. So how this is the things that we are doing in Jamnagar Municipal Corporation for last few years also, and we have just taken to go ahead with that.
Wow. It's so good to hear, Mr. Kanadi. In fact, no, it comes to my mind that no, you're not asking the citizens to come to the government. You are instead reaching out to the citizens yourself, and that is so much of inclusivity into the entire government process. Because no, you are making everybody inclusive. You are making sure that you are available at their convenience, at their doorsteps, at their homes, at their convenience. So I think it's so much of encouragement for citizens to participate and be able to engage with the government in that manner. So great work, Mr. Vijay. And I'll come back to you again, but now let me get some perspective from Mr. Babu. Garima, I can see your hands up. Do you have any point to make here?
Yes, we are pleased to welcome Sri Wasim Mansoori, Additional Director, Gujarat Informatics Limited, Government of Gujarat. I just wanted to welcome him. So over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Wasim. Thank you for joining us. All right, so if I can begin by asking Mr. Babu, I mean, Rajkot has been selected in the list of 100 smart cities under the Smart City Mission of MOUD, Government of India, which was launched in 2015. What are some of the key components of the Pan City Smart initiative that Rajkot as a city will experience in the next 2 to 3 years? If you can just give us.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, there's a little bit of echo from your side.
I'll just get that. I'll just get it. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah. So first of all, my greetings to Mr. Namit from Microsoft, all the esteemed panelists. I can also vouch for the Jamnagar Municipal Corporation Commissioner because we are all old buddies. So namaste to Vijay also. To Elets online team who is coordinating this and giving us an opportunity to participate in this. Presently, I'm posted as Collector Rajkot, and Rajkot is one of the 4 major cities, which is a municipal corporation also. That's Rajkot Municipal Corporation. So, as a collector, better than me commenting on a smart city program, I can comment on Rajkot Smart City program because I was the first CEO of Smart City 5 years back. So, from that experience and the present moments, I can make a comment on it. Rajkot Smart City has two components. Basically, one was the ABD development, that's a greenfield area. So it is one of those cities which has a fresh greenfield area, as well as retrofitting which is being happening in the existing areas. Rajkot Smart City was one of those first cities which did a national level hackathon, which was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister back then, way back in 2017. So based on that problem statements, solutions are also devised later on, which was absorbed to the smart city solutions and incorporated with period of time. Rajkot Smart City also has one of the most advanced systems of city monitoring, wherein 14 services were brought into a city smart center. The city smart center is located in a place called Nana Maua. So we did that about 5 years back, wherein there's a project called Rajkot Highway Project, in which the entire city monitoring system through all the high resolution cameras were installed. We installed about 1240 cameras in one go at the first phase. Now it has been upgraded to about 1500 cameras, which is being also shared with the city police for crime detection as well as number plate verification and all those things. That is one part. City also has a SCADA system for monitoring the water level, ESR, GSR, which is being linked to the SCADA system through the Schneider Electric company, which is also being taken into a central monitoring system. So the water distribution in the entire city through the tanks and pipelines is being monitored through that SCADA, which is also being monitored by the central monitoring system. We also have a CCMS monitoring system, which is the electric power supplies monitoring grid, which is also done by Schneider Electric, wherein the city lights, the automatic glow and dimming based on IDs is also being done. So every city panel, which a main block as well as each and every city light switches on automatically and goes off automatically in the morning. And there is also an ambient lighting system based on the darkness and lighting levels in the evenings. That is also there. Apart from which, the DI pipeline network is also being monitored now. We also have a rover system which is being monitoring the DI pipeline systems. But I'm not sure whether the smart city is actively getting it done. When I was back then there, we used to see the DI pipeline network leakage through rovers on the road. But that contract, I think, has been still pending. Apart from which, the water levels, lightings, your city monitoring systems, all the parks and gardens were also geo-fenced, where if somebody enters into your place unauthorizedly, the geo-fencing would start blinking. This was done for all the plots which were under the corporation's limit and also for all the garden areas. Now from the collector office also we have requested for all the government lands that we could try to do a geo-fencing project. We've been talking with the revenue department also regarding this. Apart from all these, there's a new ABD area, smart city area, it's called Raya Smart City area, wherein Atal Sarovar, there's a huge lake which is being built. And there is also a new charging station which is coming up for the electric buses. As of now, the electric buses are about 35, but the corporation intends to scale it up on a higher level. They are intending to procure more, about 50 buses, so that we'll have a new charging station. It will be a hybrid model, wherein it will run both electric as well as diesel. That is also there. So the Raya Smart City area has Atal Sarovar and this one. They're also coming up with a Ram one, where it will be a purely forested area, which will be developed. The smart city has multiple components. So retrofitting of old structures is also taken up, and it is a periodic thing for the next 20 to 25 years. But the new elements which would be coming is all those Wi-Fi areas in the city, especially the racecourse area. We are giving free Wi-Fi to the common public. Apart from which, the crime monitoring system of the city police, which is handed over to the police commissioner. Apart from which, we also use the monitoring system for number plate detection, violation, and fines are taken care. That money goes into something called the Gujarat SAS-Guj, Safe and Secure Gujarat Funds, which is later on shared to the municipal corporation. Apart from all these initiatives, the smart city also has the Swachh Bharat Mission initiatives, which from time to time under the urban development department, on their guidelines, they keep monitoring this and they keep improving their Swachhta indicators. As of now, last time they came to rank 7. This year it was, I think, rank 11. So that keeps fluctuating. So I would not want to dwell upon this. Maybe we'll be in a position to answer to your queries later on. So this is a brief of what it is.
Sure. So thank you so much, Mr. Babu, for sharing your perspective in terms of the various initiatives that you as a smart city commissioner did. And I think the city, I'm sure, would be on that path towards delivering those services, those utility for their citizens. And I think the objective of, as I said in the beginning, the objective of these kind of panels is to take the best practices from workplace and how do we kind of replicate, and that's the cross leverage and the cross learning that we have from each other as an industry, from Microsoft, and you as a facilitator of those citizen services as well. So with that, if I can come back to Mr. Wasim. Mr. Wasim, if you can just let us know your views in terms of the public service bodies deal with a vast amount of personal data from public for delivering the services. What measures have been taken by the various government departments in Gujarat to ensure cybersecurity and data security? If you can just let us know your perspective, maybe there is some learning for all of us.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Actually, at GIL we are a central nodal agency, and GIL and DST is managing the state data center, wherein the almost all the states, every portal is being hosted. We have an ISO certified data center, which is wherein our data is being securely stored, and it's a private data center. We are not even ready to share our data with the public clouds and all those things. So it's a private data center, it's a ISO certified data center, and all the data which is being stored here are absolutely behind the firewall, and with all the security and security measures are being taken. On top of that, the applications which are running on our in our data center, which is for example, which is limited to the governance related activities, so those are being only opened on in the our private network, which is a GSWAN, which is called intranet. So in the GSWAN, we have a GSWAN reach in every district and in all over the Gujarat. So almost all the offices, more than 6,000 offices are connected with the GSWAN, and we are also currently in the process of expanding that network to the village level. So that is additionally we are adding the 6,000 villages to our intranet services, and wherein we will be providing the Wi-Fi. This will be called GSWAN, GSVAN, Gujarat State Village Area Network, and that is for the reach for the reaching of the for the people of a Gujarat, for the citizen of a Gujarat, so that they can access the providing the backbone on the ICT infrastructure. We already have a urban Wi-Fi project. We already have a CCTV-based surveillance systems installed from the different department, and those footages are being stored at the some of the footages are being stored at the GSWAN also. We have egram, we have CSC centers. So basically, to reach the uh, end citizen end point of the whole ecosystem. So basically DST and GL is trying to provide the uh, DST and GSWAN is trying to provide the backbone on the ICT infrastructure to facilitate the e-governance.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Wasim. In fact, you talked about the traditional method of securing the data by not even opening up to the cloud. So, I mean, I'll come towards that, towards the end, and maybe there's a role for people like us to play here in terms of making sure that our cloud services are enabling a lot of government agencies across the world to be able to safely put the data on the cloud as well, and be able to have safeguards in place so that data is protected, data is kind of managed well, data is kind of protected, and it is all as part of the DPR rules and all that stuff. So I think there's a work for people like us to be done in state like yourself. So I think I'll come towards that as well. Back to you, Garima. I think you wanted to say something.
Yes. We'd like to welcome Mr. Mirant Parik, IAS, District Development Officer, Junagadh, to the discussion. So,
okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mirant. Thank you for joining.
Good afternoon. My pleasure. As far as the initiatives in the rural front are concerned, and the topic of discussion about technology is going on, our focus currently, as well as of the government, is to ensure that the benefits and the services reach at the last mile point. So what we are trying as a venture is that we are setting up e-gram centers at the Gram Panchayat level. Now, the primary objective of setting up such an initiative is to have an optical fiber cable connectivity right down at the Gram Panchayat level. So we are trying to decentralize it. The objective of our governance is to ensure decentralization. So we are trying to decentralize the entire governance structure by ensuring that the services for which initially people used to come either to the district headquarter or the taluka headquarter can now be availed at the Gram Panchayat level itself. So I'm very happy to say that almost all Gram Panchayats in Junagadh district have been connected with an optical fiber cable in the phase 2 of the BBNL scheme. And in the next scheme of things, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to set up model e-gram centers with all the basic facilities like that they have in a corporate setup or like they have in a bank. So you'll have basic facilities like sitting arrangements, you'll have coolers, you'll have biometric devices, you'll have Aadhaar kits, you'll have laptops, you'll have portable solar inverters. And in convergence with the 15th Finance Commission scheme, we are also implementing or establishing 3 kilowatt solar panel installation on top of every Gram Panchayat. So even in case of power disruption, the delivery of service doesn't get hampered. So that is one of the technological initiative that we are commencing right now. So as to enhance, as has been the motto of the government, ease of living as far as the common citizens is concerned. So majority of all the services currently are being provided at the Gram Panchayat level. The services range, the multifaceted services that are being provided range from disbursal of e-Shram cards, Ayushman cards, even income certificates, and there are close to 38 services which are being provided at the Gram Panchayat level, for which earlier a person has to go to the taluka or the block headquarter at the Tehsildar office. So that is one of the revolution that we are bringing about as far as the initial the technological and the optical fiber connectivity is concerned. One of the other things that I like to point out is the use of e-Gram Swaraj. Now, e-Gram Swaraj is an application or a software which is being developed by the central government for disbursal of funds under the 15th Finance Commission. The entire journey of a particular work, starting from it being selected in the Gram Panchayat development plan, then it getting sanctioned, then the process of estimation, the technical sanction, the administration sanction, the completion certificate, and the payment. The entire hierarchy or the chain of events is being recorded on e-Gram Swaraj itself, and the grants is directly being disbursed into the accounts of the respective vendor through the direct benefit transfer. Thus, we are cutting down on any discretion that any of the officer that might would have in the entire journey. And simultaneously, we are also ensuring that whatever grant is being availed or being disbursed reaches the final vendor without any intervention. So e-Gram Swaraj is a bit of a revolution that has been ushered into the digital transformation at the rural level. Now, at the Gram Panchayat level, we have 2 digital signatures, 2 DSCs. One belongs to the Patwari and the other belongs to the Sarpanch. So the Patwari is the maker and the Sarpanch is the checker. So at the Gram Panchayat level itself, the decision making happens and the payment gets done. So, it is an example of true decentralization at the Gram Panchayat level as far as the infrastructural works and disbursal of grants is concerned. Along with that, 2 of the other schemes which are being implemented by the Rural Development Department, which is the Manrega as well as the PM Awas scheme. For the Narega, we have the Narega soft, which is being implemented to ensure that the musters are being released online. And along with that, the NMMS specific portal on the entire app makes it mandatory that any work which has more than 20 laborers are being sanctioned and are being daily monitored through the app itself, which ensures that no fake job cards are being implemented and the grants is being disbursed. Along with that, the use of Avasoft has become ubiquitous as far as the PMAY scheme is concerned, starting from the initial disbursal of first installment FTO up until the third installment FTO, the geotagging of asset, and along with that, ensuring that the entire Awas gets completed and the grant doesn't get disbursed. So Narega Soft and Awas Soft are other two major digital initiatives which the central government and the state government in consonance ensures that the things get implemented in a transparent manner. Along with that, as far as the Women and Child Development ICDS scheme is concerned, we have the Poshan Tracker app, where when a particular lady gets pregnant up until a child reaches a mature level, every single indicator is being recorded. So a SAM or a MAM child is getting recorded, and the data can be seen from all across the nation. And the specific interventions to the child malnutrition treatment center CMTC that we are undertaking, and how many of the children we are able to move from red to yellow category and from yellow to green category can be tracked, and it can be of umpteen help as far as monitoring and progressive work is concerned. As far as one specific app for Gujarat government, as far as the health department is concerned, is Techo Plus, where multiple parameters regarding a particular person's health are being recorded, and what are the interventions that health department wants to take to ensure that a sense of well-being is being provided at the village level, even at the health and wellness center. One of the recent initiatives by the Gujarat government is on the Niramay scheme. As we have been moving towards, as the our entire country is developing slowly and steadily, we are moving from communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases. So our target now is to focus on the NCDs, be it blood pressure, sugar, or the normal obesity related non-communicable diseases which are increasing by leaps and bounds. So those portals are also being included in the TECO portal so that those can be done systematically. Along with that, for the agriculture department, we have the iKedut scheme, where any of the beneficiary can apply, and through a transparent draw system, we can identify the beneficiaries and allot, be it in terms of interest subvention scheme or be it in terms of complete subsidy scheme, as far as agriculture equipments are concerned. All those things are being done transparently through the iKedut system or the portal which is being employed by the Gujarat government. So there are multiple technological interventions that are going on in the rural development or the rural scheme of things is concerned. The primary intention being to ensure that things are transparent, so that no allegation of corruption or any discretionary power that used to lay with any of the administrative functionaries, we are trying to cut it back. And along with that, we also want to set up a system of accountability and convenience, so that we very well know that one day at taluka headquarter or district headquarter leads to a loss of livelihood of a particular day for that particular the rural resident. So what we are trying to do is that along with not losing that livelihood, he can avail those services. And we are also ensuring that those services continue even at the night level. So we are conducting Ratri Sabhas in the village level so that they don't have to waste their time in the morning and lose their livelihood. Rather, they can use the night time and get the services at the night itself. And we also have a system of village computer entrepreneurs where incentives are given based on the number of applications that they've processed. So it also serves as an incentive for them to create an IEC module to get as many beneficiaries as they can into the entire service, so as to increase their incentive and to also run a sustainable and viable entrepreneurship module in the rural setting. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, it was very overwhelming, Mr. Parekh, to hear so many initiatives, and I think it also demonstrates the thought process that you all have as administrators of your respective states and cities. No, you talked about the networking. You talked about, because that's the basic of providing any citizen services online. So you started with the networking, then you talked about various applications, and I must tell you that I felt very, very, very honored and privileged to be working in many of the applications that you talked about. eShram is developed on Microsoft. We work with the central government to develop that portal on Microsoft Azure. So I think whether it is eShram, you talked about rural development, we work with NRHM, Disha. So I think all these portals you talked about, health, the entire telehealth is going to be on Azure. So we are providing the backbone technology services to the central government and the state government, whereby you are able to utilize them and be able to provide citizen services in your state very effectively. So it was actually overwhelming to hear the various initiatives. And I think that comes to my next question to, and if I can go back to Mr. Vijay, I hear very similar kind of comments from all of you in terms of administrators of your local cities. You are doing a lot of technology-driven initiatives in your states, in your cities, and I think there's a lot of data which is getting created in the process as well. Now, are you using these data-driven decision making? Is that data helping you do the right decision making, or do you think that there's some innovative solutions, ideas that you would need from people like us to make your decision making capability much better? Are you looking at some kind of AI based technologies? Are you looking at some kind of AI ML? And that's a requirement on behalf of industry I could possibly ask. If you think that makes sense, then maybe that's an area for work for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. As far as data analysis is concerned, it is one of the major factor of how we are taking decisions, because there are lots of services like a drainage system, like roads. There is lots of complaints, and we have that system of complaint management system also, which can be used for the further future planning and future execution also. As you rightly suggest that artificial intelligence always gives us that chance to improve your decisions in futures, because when we do have meetings and all these things, we are always discussing that whatever data we have get through last 1 year or more than that, we can always analyze it, and accordingly that we can put up or we can take a decision on that. Suppose I can give you an example of one of the our drainage system. Major complaints come from the solid waste management system and maybe from drainage system. If you take the solid waste management system, so there are lots of complaints from one ward or one area. So from data analysis, you can make out that why so many complaints are coming from that area, or maybe you can say, suppose you have made a one door-to-door route also. If there is some missing points also, you can identify that points also. You can identify those points also, which have you come out. You have decided in by the data analysis. So all this data and data analytics will definitely help you to come out in better solution of the city. So we have initially we have identified 4 or 5 sectors in which we do have lots of complaints. So according by way of nature of these complaints, we can identify the nature of problem also, and accordingly we can give solution to the citizens. So what our analysis is, it is not always possible that people are writing you or complaining you every now and then. It's duty of the corporation that if you are analyzing the data from the past, you can have some idea that lots of issues are arising out of this problem or this area or this place because of this. So this type of reasons may be given by the use of AI. So we are doing all these things. So we hope in future when we do have this number of data or data analytics, we are definitely able to solve the problems in advance. And maybe now time you can say that we are working in the reactive mode, but we do have this analytics and all these things. We can definitely go for the proactive mode. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Karati. Thank you for your thoughts around this. If I can come back to you, Mr. Babu, you talked about the various utility services that are part of the Rajkot journey, and there's a lot to learn from that. You talked about transport, electricity, sewage, water, solid waste management, and all that stuff. Now, what are your thoughts on advanced cloud technologies to build maybe a ICCC for delivering a smart utility services for your city? What do you think we should be doing in terms of building that capability, which can give a better citizen services and maybe give a better decision-making system for administrator like you to provide better services to the citizens?
Okay. In terms of ICCC, am I audible right now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So in terms of ICCC, it is already operational. The ICCC combines about 14 different services and then combines analytical data is being done. As of now, we have got officers deployed for each with 3 panels. So it runs 24/7. The data monitoring is happening. Data interference is interfered and it is inferred every month. And that data is being fed into the smart city system, based on which the water distribution channels, the electricity power control areas, the ESR, GSR levels, the pollution levels, the Wi-Fi connectivity area which is low. It has all been shown. But intelligence data sharing has to be across platforms. As of now, the DR Cloud is based on a Pune-based agency. So there is a DR Cloud which is already there, and there is a backup server which belongs to TCS, which is as of now being installed physically here. So the intelligent data sharing mechanism is going into the decision-making system of the corporation, as well as in terms of green energy, in terms of green mechanisms and plantations to be taken based on heat wave data. That is being shared across to us also, which we intelligently share with the forest department here. So the forest department, city parks and gardens department, they all use this data for coming up with new plantations based on heat wave map data. And water distribution levels are also being taken. Intelligent decisions are taken. Which area needs more water, which area density requires more water, and also the relay pump mechanism, wherein which filter plant will provide water for which area on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. These decisions are also taken. The ESR GSR data, as far as you know, is also very helpful in the water distribution systems. Mainly for any city, Pani, Bijli, Sadak and bridges. These become the fundamental part of any municipal corporation. Apart from which we talk about, we have got all the LED boards where, the data is being relayed regarding all the Seva Setu programs that we happen, regarding all the melas that happen, regarding the government schemes which is being given. So there is utmost a necessity to keep this DR cloud active. Our data restoration and data recovery is for a period of 6 months. So after 6 months, the data lapses. So we keep it in DR elsewhere. The server is based in Bangalore and Pune. As far as the local server is concerned, it is about 1.4 terabytes. That is on a limited basis. That is about TCS handles it. But yes, we do have an intelligent data sharing and data acquisition platform. But nevertheless, your suggestions would be welcome for the future. And your inputs will also help us improve our data analytics in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Babu. Thank you, Mr. Babu. I can see, I can see the thoughts around being so much progressive in terms of looking at the entire citizen services. And I think no wonder I read in my briefing that Rajkot is in the top 100. And I understand the kind of leapfrog that you have compared to various other cities who are trying to look at some of the modern cities who have done these kind of solutions in a better manner. And how do they learn from these schemes as well? Mr. Wasim, if I can come back to you, you talked about, I think you're from GIL and you anyway provide a lot of services to the various departments of Gujarat, and you are trying to help the various departments. What are the challenges that you faced while moving from online to hybrid work model? And how exactly, first of all, how prepared you were or the state was when the pandemic hit in terms of moving to an online mode? And when the pandemic is kind of easing out, how do you kind of coming back to an hybrid model or maybe an offline model? If you can just give us a perspective in terms of the state's readiness and the best practices, maybe it would be helpful.
Yeah. So actually, the readiness, frankly speaking, the readiness of our department and our GL when pandemic hit. At that time, the total lockdown was there, so it was very difficult for a government, for Gujarat state government to function in a smooth way when there was a pandemic. So at that time we were not going for an online for a citizen service delivery. For example, we had created our own portal wherein we were issuing the passes to the people who wanted to travel across the state, or who wanted to move across the cities or districts using an online mode. We had our own portal, which was, I think, for health data monitoring. We used to take the input from the different hospitals and district to monitor the data. We created our own portal. After going for a lockdown, we started developing those things, and we did the development of the dashboards and portals and all those things to at least cater the pandemic. We learned a lot of things, like, for example, we had from the learning point of view, we did not had a system. We had a system, but it was not much used. So we enforced the system administrative process in at least in the state department online. All the approvals and all the files were are right now. All the files are moving online. Majority of the files are moving online, and all those administrative procedures are. If you talk about the status from the 3 years back and now, we have lot of citizen centric or citizen facing application. Initially we have a portal called Digital Gujarat, wherein we are trying to deliver almost not all the services, but we are trying to maximize the number of services which are being delivered to citizen all online. Already we have a Seva Setu program we had, wherein uh, uh, district administration used to go to the villages and used to have a melas. Now we have a digital Seva Setu, wherein we have a lot of integrated service deliveries, wherein using a village level entrepreneur, citizen or villager can go to simply a gram panchayat and apply for a service and avail the services. So lot of things are being improved or being digitalized uh, after we hit the pandemic, and we are moving towards a digital governance. Also, there are when you say there is still we have a hybrid model. We have some of the systems which we are not able to cope up with the pace also. For example, there are lot of services which are being from the different departments. Lot of services which are being asked that okay, we need to make this services online, we need to make this process online, that process online. But due to a limited capacity we are having a lot of a large backlog also. But we are in the process of, so we are not going backward now. Now the graph is always moving upwards
Yeah.
towards the digitalization.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Basim, for sharing your thoughts. And in fact, that's the journey that more or less I think every department, every state, everyone is going through. And I think, but we saw a huge pace of adoption of technologies in terms of being able to become a hybrid model from what we used to see or what we used to know about government, which was completely offline. There was no mechanism for an online apart from a very limited number of people. But we saw that journey going through by a lot of states, and I'm sure I must appreciate the way that you all have come up as well in terms of making sure that the services are delivered to the citizen even in pandemic. So, thanks for your views as well. With that, if I can come back to Mr. Parekh, I mean you talked about a lot of citizen services, and I think leveraging technology anyway can greatly enhance the accessibility and agility for delivering these citizen services. So, if I may ask you, are you leveraging the new age cloud based technologies, the AI ML, the newest technologies to improve the citizen services? What's your future roadmap? If you can just give me a perspective around that, please.
Many of the particular applications or the software that I mentioned earlier precisely does that. As we know that governance in recent times is based much more on data analytics and the big data system. So what we as a system intend to do or aspire to do is that based on the input data, we try to find the analytical mold of a particular district or a particular area. So based on the data that is being fed into the system, just to quote an example, as I mentioned about the TECO application, where door-to-door data is being fed by ASHAs in the village level. Based on that, we can make strategic decisions as far as a particular area of a district is concerned. So supposedly, if in a particular area, based on the data entry that is being done by ASHA, if we find that the sex ratio of that particular block or that particular area is on the declining end, we very well know that the implementation of PNDT Act needs to be strengthened there. That is just one of the example about the correlation between multiple acts. So the correlation about the sex ratio in that particular area, based on this, the analytical result can help us in implementation of a certain enforcement level act in that particular area. The other could also be the use of Poshan Tracker. For the integrated child development scheme, we have the child malnutrition treatment center at every PHC and CHC level. So based on the data which is being fed on Mamta Divas, we have our Mamta Divas on Wednesday. On Wednesday, at every Anganwadi centers, you have this data being fed into the system, and based on the calculation of the height and the weight of a particular child, and that helps us in determine whether it's a SAM or a MAM child. And based on that, we have the analytics by the end of the day, and we direct that particular block or that particular area to transfer those child to the child malnutrition treatment center. The usual span of the admission into the CMTC is for 10 days. They are being constantly monitored, interventions are being done, and we have been seeing substantive progress as far as the nourishment of that particular child is concerned. Along with that, on the e-Gram Swaraj system that we mentioned earlier, we also look at the concentration of grants into a particular area and the kinds of work that we are seeing. So it also helps us in tracking as well as eliminating the duplication of work. What used to happen earlier was that there used to be overlapping of work. So if supposedly there used to be a laying down of roads from point A to B, the other road would be from C to D, the C point between A to B. So there used to be a certain portion of road or certain portion of work which used to overlap with the earlier one, leading to loss of public exchequer's money. Now with the kind of geotagging and the kind of integration that we have done with the software and the data that we are getting from the software, we can very well point out. So the system won't allow you to overlap one work to the other. So the kind of discretion that we had and the kind of the financial impropriety schedules or the issues that you used to have at the ground level, because of the data that is being fed and the data that is being stored in the cloud. The data is being stored for 5-10 years. So you can fetch data of a work which was done 5 years back. And if the new work is supposedly being undertaken in the current year, we can very well gauge that, okay, this has been duplication or overlapping of work and the system only won't allow. So because of the systemization of the storage of data in the cloud, we are in a position to ensure that the legacy data is being used to eliminate many of the governance issues that we used to face earlier. Along with that, currently we have this e-Sarkar project being undertaken by the government, where record digitization at the panchayat level is currently happening. So training as well as the scanning of all the data and indexation of data with that particular year and the topic is being currently undertaken. So this will also help us in ensuring that the files which used to move physically are being moved digitally. So what now will happen is that the things that used to be moved from the sign of a particular HOD or a particular officer will now be moving online, and the biometric impression of that particular officer will be taken as an authorization for the file to move from one level to the other. So this will also help us in ensuring that all the data gathers at a single place, and it will also ensure that many of the files that used to get destroyed after a certain set of years, we can have it in cloud, we can access it readily, and the kind of problems that used to happen because of non-ready availability of data can now very well be eliminated, because now we have the data stored very well in our cloud, and we can extract that data anytime, and we can do a data analytics and come to a better decision making.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Parekh, for sharing your thoughts. And with that, let me close this panel discussion. And it was absolutely a pleasure to talk to all of you and get your perspective, get the learnings, get the feedback. And it is very good to hear the various ideas and various things that you all are doing in your respective cities. And there's a lot of learning for us. There's a lot of work that we as a technology provider needs to do as well, in terms of making sure that right technology reaches to the right set of people, so that your decision making becomes much better, and you would be able to deploy this technology to provide better services to your citizens as well. So thank you very much. With that, I'll give it back to Garima to close this. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all the esteemed panelists for their presence and their time here and sharing their wonderful insights, on such pertinent issues that are, laying the future roadmap for us in the country. And as a small token of appreciation and gratitude from us, please accept these certificates of participation. If you can ask my team to please present these certificates on screen. We'd like to honor Mr. Vijay Kharadi, Municipal Commissioner, Municipal Corporation, Jamnagar, Government of Gujarat, for his presence at the summit. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We'd also like to present a small token of gratitude to Mr. Arun Mahesh Babu, Collector Rajkot, Government of Gujarat. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you so much. Mr. Miran Jatin Parekh, District Development Officer, Junagadh, Government of Gujarat. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mr. Wasim Mansoori, Additional Director, Gujarat Informatics Limited, Government of Gujarat. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you, ma'am.
And of course, to Mr. Namit Sinha, Head Government Vertical, Microsoft India. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha, for driving this discussion forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for your presence.
Thank you, everyone.
टेक्नोलॉजी से देश की सुरक्षा में और आधुनिकता लाना हम जानते हैं। देश के हर कोने में अपडेटेड हेल्थ सॉल्यूशंस के होने की अहमियत हम जानते हैं। इनकी मेहनत की कमाई को सही हाथों तक पहुंचाना हम जानते हैं। खराब मौसम की सूचना सही समय पर रेस्क्यू टीम तक पहुंचाना हम जानते हैं। मॉडर्न तरीकों से किसानों की लाइफ में ज्यादा खुशहाली लाना हम जानते हैं। देश अपना डिजिटल है, इतना तो सब मानते हैं, इसलिए तो हम रुकना नहीं जानते हैं।
That was an enriching discussion. Smart cities in India are increasingly acting as beacons of hope and models for other cities to emulate the best practices. It was enriching to understand the wonderful initiatives being taken by Rajkot and Jamnagar civic bodies for the benefit of citizens. We now move on to the next panel discussion, modernization of government-owned utilities, bringing operational efficiency and better service delivery. The panel discussion will focus on providing data-driven predictive services that enables connected operations using highly secure, compliant technology to provide seamless experience for citizens. Over to my colleague, Pooja Banerjee.
A very warm welcome, all of you, in today's Digital Governance Summit Gujarat edition. As we all know that Gujarat is one of the leading states in terms of technology adaptation and effective execution of e-governance. As emerging technologies like AI, cloud, IoT, etc. have been the key drivers of growth and transformation of governance, and to shed light on how state of Gujarat is transforming governance with the new age technologies in all the sectors. To discuss this today, we have our eminent panelists who have joined us from Gujarat, Shri Varun Kumar Barinwal, who is the Managing Director of Paschim Gujarat Wage Company Limited, Government of Gujarat. We have Mr. Rohit Mehta, who is the State Project Advisor, Education Department, Government of Gujarat. We also have Shri Amit Arora, who is our Municipal Commissioner, Municipal Corporation Rajkot, Government of Gujarat. And we are yet to join in the panel discussion Shri Rajkumar Beniwal, who is the Commissioner of Municipalities Administration and Managing Director and ACEO, Gujarat Urban Development Company Limited. And Shri Alok Pandey, who is the Commissioner Tourism, Devastham Management, Civil Aviation and Pilgrimage, Managing Director of Tourism Corporation of Gujarat Limited, Government of Gujarat. And we also have, from the industry perspective, we have our expert as Shri Nitin Gupta ji, who is the Senior Cloud Solution Specialist of Microsoft India. I welcome all of you, our esteemed panelists in this discussion today. And I would hand it over to Mr. Nitin to take forward the panel discussion, as we are yet to join by two of our officers now.
Okay, thank you, Pooja. For the introduction, and I also welcome all our panelists. For taking out time to share their thoughts and feedback about the digital acceleration. In terms of urban infrastructure. And I look forward to hear your thoughts. On some of the questions we will have for you. So I begin with with Varun sir, and I'll have would like to know your thoughts, sir, on in terms of you being managing a very very complex sector in terms of energy distribution. What's your thoughts in terms of acceleration of technology, adoption of technology, how you've been able to kind of serve and cut on the AT&T losses, bring more efficiency. We have seen the APDRP phase, we have seen smart grids. So what's your thoughts on adoption of technology and how the new technology is really helping you deliver better outcomes?
Thank you, Nitinji. First of all, I thank you for inviting me to this platform. Speaking of technology in power distribution sector, technology is going to play more and more important role as we go ahead. If you are not aware, the government of India has come up with a new scheme called RDSS, Distribution Sector Scheme. So we are going to have 100% prepaid smart meters within a span of 3-4 years. So the entire business process is going to change, because our business process at present is postpaid. You consume energy, we take a meter reading, and we serve your bill. So our entire business process is going to change over the next 3-4 years. At the same time, because of smart meters, the amount of data which will become available to us in terms of consumption pattern, in terms of availability, non-availability, everything. So the amount of data which will become available, the analysis of that data, and the business decisions that will entail from there, that is another area where technology will play a more and more important role. The government of India is recently has started conducting a hackathon called Powerthon. So many startups and non-startup companies were invited, and a set of problem statements were given. And PGVCL also participated in that Powerthon. And the two companies, one is non-startup Siemens, and there is another startup company. And it is basically, we have asked for an IoT solution to monitor health of our distribution transformers. Because once our transformer fails, okay, there is a cost in replacement and etc. But it takes time. It takes 10 hours, 12 hours to replace that transformer. And in that time period, there is an interruption in the service. So that is a higher cost which we need to think about. So IoT-based solutions to monitor the health and give timely alerts, that is another area where the technology is going to come in. In the same RDSS scheme, more than 71 towns in our company will be covered with SCADA. So we will have sensory networks everywhere. We will have ring main units, and we will have a SCADA center from where we will be running the entire electrical networks in a huge geographical spread. So as we go forward, technology is going to play more and more important role operationally also. On the second side, when we speak of consumer interaction, the consumers are becoming more and more demanding. They want everything on their palm top. They don't want to go to any office. They don't want to go to any website even. So we are coming up with solutions like chatbot solutions, because WhatsApp has become very expensive. Because every month, speaking for PGVCL, we serve 28 lakh bill papers every month. So if we go by WhatsApp, it is going to be a huge cost. So we are coming with our own chatbot. We are coming with our own mobile applications and to improve the consumer service part of our business as well. So I think that's it from my side. Technology is definitely going to play more and more role, especially because reforms are being driven in top-down manner, right from Government of India to state government, and at discount level from the corporate offices also.
Right. I mean, I think very well said, sir. Very well said. I will, I have few follow-up questions on it, but I'll come back to you. But let me, ask my next question, and with Amit sir. In terms of, Rajkot has one of been the cities, which was selected as part of the 100 smart cities, right? So, and you have done the implementation, some time back. So, sir, how are you seeing the adoption of technology has really been able to make the city smarter, and you've been able to offer some of these citizen services at scale?
Nitinji, your question is directed at me, right?
Yes.
So, okay. So how technology is helping us, right? I mean,
Yes.
Okay. So I think RMC has a long history, a long tradition of automating its services. I think we have been taking online taxes for years now.
Okay.
But somehow the scale is catching up very fast these days. This year, for example, our digital payments were more than 40%. 40% of our total tax collection was digital this year. And for this year, our target for the year 22-23, our target is to cross 60% digital transactions. We have been giving all our services via the digital medium. We have our city civic centers. Approximately 32 services of municipal corporation are entirely given online. There is almost no offline mode in those services. We have designed a very comprehensive grievance redressal mechanism for our citizens. We are using geofencing for our complaints. We have OTP based verification for our complaints. We have the facility of feedback from the complainant, in which we do department wise, employee wise analysis also. We have the concept of escalation also. So if you're not satisfied with the solution of grievance at one level, we escalate the complaint to the higher ups. We have our integrated command and control center, from which we have around 1,000 cameras throughout the city, which we are sharing with the traffic police also. We are the cost of data right now, a lot of data is flowing through the city. So we are putting our own digital fiber across the city. The work is approximately 50 to 60% completed. We should be done with it by the end of the year. Recently, we launched RMC on WhatsApp. So till now, about 2 lakhs, more than 2 lakh citizens have interacted on it. RMC normally gets close to 1,000 to 1,200 complaints every day. Most of them from being drainage to water supply. Now the recent trend is, out of those 1,000, about 200 have shifted to WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is being used for about 200 complaints per day. And the call center, which used to contribute to about 65 to 70% of complaints, that is manual complaints where you call in a person in RMC, the share was close to 65 to 70%. That has come down to about 50%. So grievance redressal is another area, including the WhatsApp medium. We are giving around 34 services on WhatsApp, from very simple to form downloading to linking your phone number with your property card. We recently, I think we are first corporation in Gujarat at least to have the all underground utility survey using ground penetration radar. And I think it will become increasingly important for all utilities, whether it be gas pipelines, whether it be electricity, who are having underground network. So we have around 4,500 kilometers of our utilities mapped underground, along with their depth, to the depth which they are mapped. SCADA we are using for bulk water supply and bulk drainage. We have not got down to the distribution part, but as far as bulk supply and bulk drainage from our major pumping station to STB is concerned, we have SCADA integrated. The cost of SCADA is pretty high when we go to finer granularity. But in future, at least the main trunk lines of at least 600 mm lines or 700 mm lines, or at least 400 mm lines of our water supply should at least be connected to SCADA. As far as future is concerned, we are greatly looking forward to ERP. We are going for our ERP solution for our entire organization. We are looking for major reforms as far as HR and finance is concerned, as far as ERP is concerned. We are aiming for a seamless mobility. So initially we were going for a travel smart card, but now we are very soon will be floating a tender for a digital wallet. So the idea is to make every facility of RMC walk in and walk out. You just swipe your wallet, you have a QR code on your digital app. You just swipe it in, whether it is a city bus, whether it is a BRTS bus, whether it is a swimming pool, whether it is a library, whether it is a museum, whether it is a community hall, whether it is a your auditorium. We want to create a system where you have a single wallet, and across the apps, across the facilities, once our ERP comes into picture, across the platforms, we have a single app for payment. So I can swipe into a bus. So we are going for an integrated transit management system, and that tender should be out shortly in a week or so. ERP is one thing, as I said, again, we are very much looking forward to. Secondly, recently we decided about transferable development rights. So TDR, if you look at cities, say Hyderabad, Delhi, the TDR instrument is very highly developed. Gujarat, here and there, Ahmedabad Corporation has issued some TDR in slum development. They have given it for your LOP, line of public street. Rajkot recently took a decision to give it for line of public street and a land acquisition for DP roads. We just got a resolution passed in our general board. We want to extend it to our entire Ruda area. And Gujarat, in principle, I spoke to the UDD, they have a policy that TDR should be tradable across the cities. Right now, the framework is that it allows TDR to move only in the development plan where it is generated. So we are also looking for a proper TDR trading portal, in which we want RMC to hold a trading portal on which all cities of Gujarat can trade. So that is one piece of IT that is under development. All said and done, I think a lot of effort has gone over the years to smoothen our process, to simplify our process, to make it more transparent. But in the real sense, if you want transparency, or in the real sense, if you want, good governance in the true sense, you have to make IT interventions.
Oh, absolutely.
And this year in budget also, we clearly told all the departments that give me systemic IT interventions. That is the only target I've given to all my branches this year in budget. That every branch has to get one systemic IT intervention. So I think we are looking at a lot, we are leveraging a lot of IT, and hopefully this year we should show some even more advancement into services that are still delivered manually.
I think absolutely. I think this is really heartening to see or hear, the initiatives which you have taken at the ground level. And as I said, Rajkot was one of the first few cities who have really taken up the smart city challenge, and you have gone ahead in your implementation. I'll come back to you, sir. I have few follow-up questions on which are very prominent. But taking back the question to we have Rohit sir on call, or has he? I think he has dropped. Okay, sir, I'll come to Varun sir. Varun sir, you talked about the initiatives which you have taken, and I think those are really fantastic. But do you want to share some challenges in terms of adoption of technology at a fast pace? Like today, every few days, if or other weeks, the technology changes and new technology comes in, and it may be best upon you that, okay, how should you take advantage of this technology? So it's like changing the wheel in a moving car. So how do you tackle such problems, sir?
See, change management is a problem which any organization of a big size deals with. For example, we have 16,000 employees and 56 lakh consumers. So
Right.
even if we speak of internal changes or external changes, change management is always a problem. For example, let me just take an example of this prepaid smart meters that we are planning to bring in. The entire behavior of consumer, we are asking the consumer to change the entire behavior.
Right.
So it's going to have its own challenges. So we are planning massive IEC campaigns to educate the consumers about the advantages of adopting the smart meters, etc. The IT solutions which we are coming for in-house development, we do hold regular training sessions at subdivision level, division level, circle levels, and open discussion forums where they can ask their questions. Then the ticket management and complaint resolution system we have. So our ERP is quite old. Our ERP has matured over 20 years. We are trying to migrate to a better ERP also. But so within our ERP, we have that space where people at any level can raise their issues and the concerned persons can come and resolve them. But still, whenever we bring in a new system, change management is a difficult problem, and it takes time for the entire system to migrate. There is a very big inertia, and it is one of the challenges which we grapple with.
Which you grapple with. Okay. And how do you see the technology where in the modern technology where you have cloud, where you have these artificial intelligence, machine learning, does it help you in terms of accelerating the adoption, in terms of rather going with a long-term contracting and waiting for the commissioning to happen? Some of these technologies are just available on an electricity model where you are sitting in a room, you use it, and you are not in a room, you don't use it, and you don't pay for it. So is this something which is helping you?
We are moving in that direction. We are moving in that direction. For example, our feeders, we have electrical feeders. So feeder management system, we are going to put it in the cloud. Yes. There will be an artificial intelligence solution integrated with it, because one, we will have feeder data online. We will have our own outage management system. The entire feeders will now at present it is in cantilever mode. So technically we will have a ring main kind of arrangement where multiple single consumer will be fed energy through 2 or 3 channels. So for example, if a channel fails, there will be an alternate channel through which the energy can be supplied. So this entire switching will happen with minimum manual intervention. So artificial intelligence will have a role. If suppose there is a manual intervention, it will have a role in proposing the possible solutions. Then the manually we can choose the best solution. So once the technology interventions which you are planning, once they happen, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other such algorithms will definitely have a very big role to play in making our networks robust and interruption free.
Right. Right, sir. Sir, I'll now go back to Amit, sir, and have a follow-up question. Sir, I think in the state of Gujarat, there is a 139 service which runs, which is a non-emergency service. Is this also part of your core governance management system and citizen interaction system, which allows citizen to kind of respond immediately or request immediate help where they see a problem? 139, sir.
139.
Yeah.
No, corporation is running 1973, 1973 actually.
Okay.
That is based on the year that RMC was established.
Okay.
So yes, we are. That is the basic number we have for all our complaints. Our WhatsApp also has that number.
Okay.
Our 24-hour toll-free number also has that number. So yes, that is like a heart of our complaint grievance. We have a big call center here, in which we are receiving all the complaints, and any campaign, from vaccination campaign to tax campaign to say any other, say pre-monsoon complaint is to be registered, any fire emergency is to be registered. All complaints are centrally directed through that call center.
Okay.
So, but again, as I said, कि see, आप मैनुअली कहीं पे फोन करते हो, उसकी लोकेशन लेना, उसके बाद उसको रजिस्टर करना, सही आदमी पे फॉरवर्ड करना, इट ऑल इज एरर प्रोन. आज मेरी कंप्लेंट एक वार्ड नंबर 6 से आई है, बॉर्डर का एरिया, मैनुअली उसने वार्ड नंबर 7 कर दिया.
यस.
गलत कर्मचारी को डायरेक्ट हो गया.
यस.
एक दिन बाद उसने रिवर्ट बैक किया कि ये तो मेरे एरिया में आते हैं. दैट इज व्हाई आइडिया इज कि ये जो हमारा सेंट्रल मैनुअल हेल्पलाइन है, इसको हमने इंटीग्रेट किया है व्हाट्सएप सर्विसेज से, अपनी ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल ऐप से करके, जाता सेम सिस्टम में है. बट ग्रेजुअली दिस आइडिया ऑफ कॉलिंग ऑन अ मैनुअल हेल्पलाइन वी वांट टू डू अवे.
राइट. And
we want to ultimately source our complaints either from an app or from WhatsApp or a website maybe. कि this discrepancy की गलत जगह कंप्लेंट डायरेक्ट हो गई, गलत कर्मचारी को अलॉट हो गई, उसको एरिया नहीं मिल रहा, उसको लोकेशन नहीं मिल रही, आप ऐप के थ्रू कंप्लेन करोगे, उसका ऑटोमेटिक वो लेट लॉन्ग कैप्चर करता है।
राइट।
तो जितनी डिस्क्रिपेंसीज हैं, यस वी हैव अ फंक्शनल हेल्पलाइन, वी यूज इट फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स। इनफैक्ट अभी जो हम फीडबैक लेते हैं, आवर टारगेट इज कि जितनी भी कंप्लेन सॉल्व होती है उसके 20% कंप्लेंट्स का हम फीडबैक लेंगे।
ओके।
और वो 20% लेने के लिए हम लोग जब भी कोई कंप्लेन सॉल्व होती है एक एसएमएस लिंक भेजते हैं।
ओके।
एसएमएस लिंक में से जितने लोग कर देते हैं उनका हमें एग्जैक्ट वो मिल जाता है। बाकी जो कंप्लेंट्स रह जाती हैं हमारे फीडबैक 20% शॉर्टफॉल में, उनको हम अपने कंप्लेंट सेंटर से फोन कराते हैं।
ओके।
सो द आइडिया इज, बट अगेन उसमें सही आदमी को फोन किया, ऑपरेटर ने क्या बात करी, वो क्या कहना चाहता था, इसने क्या समझा, वी वांट टू डू अवे विद ऑल द सब्जेक्टिविटी। दैट इज व्हाई अगेन एंड अगेन वी आर ट्राइंग कि हम जितना हो सके मोबाइल ऐप या वेबसाइट या व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू अपनी सर्विसेज डिलीवर करें।
Sir, I'm sure your APDRP infrastructure, which you have implemented long back, would come for a technology refresh. Or so, what's your view on some of those refreshes? Are you looking at again on a modern technology which allows some of this infrastructure to run at scale, and you kind of manage the peaks and lows accordingly? How is your technology refresh looking, sir?
See, let me just speak of one intervention. Okay. For example, during RPDRP, we installed our meters on distribution transformers, basically DT meters. These meters were not communicable, so every time our meter reader had to go on the site and note the meter reading, and energy audit became that much cumbersome because we had to take physical reading of meters, you had to take physical reading of consumers, and then reconcile the data to do the energy audit. So at one side, we are going for 100% smart communicable prepaid meters for our consumers. On the other side, we are going for communicable meters on our transformers. So basically what we will have is we will have data from both the ends coming to a single platform where we will collate the data, and we will have a mapping. For example, this transformer is serving these many consumers, so that data and this data, so energy audit will become a simple job, and it will become easier to identify the leakage points also. For example, if the energy audit is not succeeding in a certain transformer, there are leakages which need to be worked out. So that is one example how RAP-DRP infrastructure is getting updated. Then second, in RAP-DRP, we had some towns which were covered with SCADA, but the technology did not earn results that we were expecting from it. So in RDSS, we are going to upgrade that infrastructure further. We are going to have a new ERP solution again in RDSS, and this SCADA in 71 towns with the latest technologies, all those things will be coming in.
Correct, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll go to Rohit, sir, for his quick thoughts on, I think Gujarat is one of the first states, who has integrated command and control for an education system, where you are focused on outcomes, learning outcomes, students, teachers, all can use this system, and rather you can provide real-time insight in terms of their learning behavior, sir. So any thoughts on that, sir? How is the journey for setting up such a command and control center, which is very unique in itself and dedicated to education?
So actually, we have almost 2.5 lakh government teachers and 1.15 crore students studying across different types of schools in the Gujarat. And if you consider the manpower, education department has almost 51% plus manpower of the state's entire set of manpower. So effective, and they are spread across the state. So in terms of numbers, in terms of spread, this is the largest and widest department. So the best fit solution for governance is real-time online monitoring and the data-driven decision-making mechanism. And that mere sense of being observed or being watched or creates a sense of accountability and responsibility. So our school education secretary, Dr. Vinod Rao, has conceived, nurtured, and implemented this idea. I would like to make one small correction, which is in the note as well, and here also. We do not call it command and control center. It is Vidya Samiksha Kendra.
Vidya Samiksha Kendra.
Yeah, Vidya Samiksha Kendra is the name given to us by Honorable PM during his last visit. Uh, COVID has, taught us many things, and out of those many things, the major change or a mindset paradigm shift is towards usage of technology.
Right, sir.
Nitin, you are from Microsoft, and I'm happy to share that, Gujarat is the third largest user in the world for Microsoft Teams.
Yes.
During COVID, we have conducted around 25 crore virtual classes using Microsoft Teams. And that has ensured the continuum of learning, or say learning without schooling.
Right, sir.
So we are taking daily online attendance. We are getting around, child-wise, question-wise data for each assessment. And yearly we generate around 500 crore data sets.
Wow. Wow.
We actively use the chatbot for our own assessments, which is apart from our summative and formative assessments. And our kids attempt many of those assessments. All this data is collected with the Samiksha Kendra, analyzed with the help of AI, ML, big data analytics.
Wow.
And we are not keeping it with us, but for every child, we prepare a holistic report card, what child is doing in a better way and where the remediation is required. And that goes to teacher, that goes to child, that goes to parent. So we are closing the loop. We are providing the hand-holding and support to each and every teacher and a student. We have done one another major path-breaking initiative that is called establishing a state-owned education technology company called Gujarat Education Technologies Limited, and its first e-learning application, because we all know that, what is the e-learning market and how costly it is, and everyone cannot afford it. And typically, across India, any government school child, their parents are not able to afford that so costly digital learning content. So we have developed an application called G Shala, which has grade 1 to 12, 100 subjects, e-learning, pure curated content, world class. And within 6 months, it has seen the 3 million downloads.
Wow.
That shows the power of that content and application. And in the usage of Diksha, we are number 1 in the country consistently past 1.5 years.
Thank you.
So, and 3 crore plus usages. Our YouTube channel has 8 crore plus views every month. So Gujarat has a very good penetration of the devices, internet connectivity, and that has helped us leveraging the technology for the transformation of education in Gujarat. Under the leadership of Dr. Rao, who is our fantastic visionary leader, who has always believed in data and data-driven decision making. Thank you, Nitin.
I think this is great, sir. Rohit sir, I'll come back to you. I have one very a follow-up question, but I'll now go to Arun sir. So rather Alok sir. Alok sir, if you can if you can hear me, can I ask you a question? Sir, you're still muted. Okay, now you're unmuted. Okay, yeah, sir. I mean, yeah, I think Gujarat is one of the the leaders. Yeah, you're audible, sir. You're audible. Thank you. So Gujarat is a leader when it comes to the promotion of tourism. And just wanted to know your thoughts on how are you leveraging technology, and especially the virtual reality, some of this augmented reality to allow citizen or to allow tourists to kind of take a quick tour, in terms of the monuments, in terms of this important places in Gujarat. Are there thought processes which you are working towards streamlining the entire journey for the people who are planning to come and visit Gujarat, sir?
Thank you, Ria. Good evening to all panelists. In fact, this question is very pertinent as far as Gujarat tourism is concerned. You might be knowing that Khushbu Gujarat ki this ad thing was initial. I mean, among all across all the states of the country, it was started only in Gujarat, and later on it was followed by several other states also like Uttar Pradesh. In fact, the tagline "Kach nahi dekha to kuch nahi dekha" was so this Khushbu Gujarat ki and Kach nahi dekha kuch nahi dekha, what I was mentioning, it was later on in fact almost kind of replicated completely by Uttar Pradesh, like Uttar Pradesh nahi dekha to kuch nahi dekha. So we have been pioneered, and in as far as advertisement is concerned or technological interventions are concerned, Gujarat tourism has very high stake in this thing. In fact, if you remember, and if you have seen in Gujarat tourism website also, and in our social media YouTube channel also, which has maximum number of followers, and subscription is also at very high number, and among states, Gujarat ranks first or second as far as subscription is concerned. There also we have made AR video, VR video also, which is just 60 degree, which has not been followed by any of the states so far. Probably now they have started only in like last week. And these are basically the resultant and miserables also. You can see that in last 3-4 months only, starting from January to May, we have almost 1 crore of tourists in Gujarat state alone, which is again highest number. So all those could happen only because of this. One thing is marketing, promotions, exhibitions, and of course technological interventions, as you have mentioned rightly. We have a social media branch also, in which a full-fledged class 1 officer who is manager social media is sitting here. YouTube is fantastic, going LinkedIn, Aura, Quora, and then thereafter all these sorts of Facebook, Instagram, everywhere we are posting like anything, and people are also following. Not only that, Gujarat tourism is also allowing a citizen-centric approach in which people, particularly youth, starting from a range of 15 years to 30 years of, it's open for anyone, but we are getting maximum number of entries from this particular age cohort, in which we have given them this kind of thing that you go to any place, any scenic beauty, any historical monument, or any, for that matter, any point where cultural heritage of Gujarat, or for that matter India is there, you have a selfie, you send a picture, and first picture of a district, top 3 pictures will be given vouchers and coupons, so that they can go to any other, in fact, not only in Gujarat, in outside also, if they are staying for hotel accommodation or for that thing, so free vouchers and gifts are also given to them. That's kind of citizen-centric thing, and we are receiving thousands of pictures also in that. Also, I myself, as managing director of Tourism Corporation, I go to places like Rani Ki Vav, Dalach Ki Vav, Modera Sun Temple, Lothal, anywhere, and I myself make few videos, which is also on YouTube channel, and it is given full-fledged in 5 to 6, 7 minutes. It gives complete picture of historicity, monuments, importance of monuments, and geographical location also, so that people can be attracted towards the location. Also, we have started this HRMS system, in which all our TIBs, Tourist Information Bureaus, are well equipped with not only broadband connectivity and other things, but they can also online getting lot of applications and information. Also, they are providing also information not only to the citizens, but also B2B, B2C also, that like any transporter, travel agent, hotel association, heritage association, niche tourism, anywhere informations are supplied at their immediately, it's on their doorstep. Lastly, our website is renovated 2-3 months back. Earlier it was also very rich, but this time it has been almost richest in country. You go to website, it's very informative, well set and very polished, so that any outsider also, or person from Gujarat itself, can get any information, not only information of historical monuments, and almost in ranking very high in the country.
I think this is fantastic, sir. This is great to hear, and as I said, we look forward, for the very innovative, advertisements or very innovative ideas from Gujarat in terms of when it comes to the promotion of tourism. And I'll come back to you, sir, with a follow-up question. But let me just go back to Rohit, sir. Rohit, sir, you talked about such a great initiative, through which the Gujarat as a state has taken. You have any plan in terms of making it adopted to other states as well? Because this model can really replicate to other states as well. Is there a thought process? Are you working on some framework which you can give to the other states?
So recently, Ministry of Education has issued a letter to all states stating that the model can be replicated by all the states, and to replicate that model and take the advantage of similar initiatives, the MOE will be giving them the money under project approval board's money. So government of India has also taken a note of it, and it is being replicated. Also would like to share that global education director, who was also the education minister of Peru and now the global education director of World Bank, Mr. Jaime Saavedra, also has personally visited and declared this as one of the best global best practice which World Bank would like to carry to the other countries, and other countries would be visiting here. And several states have already visited recently when the education ministers conference was organized in Gandhinagar on 1st and 2nd of this June itself. All ministers who had visited Gandhinagar were brought to Vidya Samiksha Kendra and model was explained. So multiple states are studying it, and according to their context, naturally, it has to be customized to the state's need and context and the data availability. They are planning to replicate this.
Okay, this is great, sir. If that can be replicated, I think we will have a lot of outcome. We have, outcome-based learning, which will have, we can see. And, the level of interaction between the students and faculties and the teachers can be made more simpler. And, the transparency in terms of how the student is really performing, and how if the and the effectiveness of the teacher can be further increased, sir. With that, Pooja, I would request is just to know if there are more panelists who have joined us as we were talking through.
We are yet to join by one more speaker now. So if you can if you have more questions, so if you can please go ahead with it. We are still waiting for Rajkumar Beniwal sir to join us.
Rajkumar, okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay. No problem. Okay, so I will, I'll come back, to, uh, Rohit sir, and I would, and you mentioned about WhatsApp, you mentioned about, so much of data being accumulated at a smart city level, sir. There are so many of channels through which data is coming. Camera feeds are coming, citizen governance system is there, WhatsApp is there, I'm sure parkings are there. How do you kind of, do the analytics, which can really give you insights on what's happening and how you need to respond in real time, say in case if there's any sort of a disaster? Is technology, are you using, technology which can really help you, respond in real time to such events, sir?
No, I think there is some misunderstanding. This is only for education.
No, yeah, sir, right, sir. So sorry, my question was for, sorry, this was more for state, rather, this is for, Rajkot as a state or a city. This was directed towards Commissioner, Rajkot. If we have him over the call, I think he's muted. Pooja, can you unmute, sir?
There's some issue with the network.
Yeah, sir.
Can I please, your voice was breaking. Can I please have the question again?
Sir, I was asking that there's so much of data coming from every channel in your from your city, like grievances, like camera feeds, you have, I'm sure, parking, you have, so how do you have an integration possibly where you can respond to any event which need immediate attention? So if there is something
As
happening,
of
how
now,
do you
we
see
have
that?
our own data servers.
Okay.
Right now, yes, all the applications are working in isolation. But as we said, once we have two projects running right now. One is ERP, in which
Yes.
the systems get computerized. Second, we have an MSI project, Master System Integration. So
Okay.
the idea of the MSI project is to make the different systems talk to each other. Alerts generated in one system should trigger responses from another system. So the intercommunicability of system, the interoperability of data, that's a work in progress, and I think by the end of this year we should be completing it.
Okay, great, sir. So there is a thought process to have a MSI.
If the question is whether we are using the data fully and as intelligently as we should be, right now, no, but in the future, yes.
In the future, you will be. Okay, great, sir. Great to know that. I think, Pooja, this is, I think we have got really some good insights in terms of, from various segments, tourism, power. I mean, education is absolutely, at the next level, and the way the entire city operations are managed by at Rajkot level is really great to, great to hear. And I think we can at this point in time possibly conclude, and maybe I can request any last word from any of the panel members to share with us, anything which you have on top of your mind, sir.
Yeah, I think as far as the concluding remarks are concerned, such conferences should be, such panel discussions should be, more frequently organized. We'll be happy to be a part of them in future also, because they tend to expand our vision. They tend to, expose us to fields with which we have no interaction. For example, we saw speakers of power sector speaking. We saw the speaker from Alok sir from tourism department. We saw some insights from the education department. So I think these things really help us, and I think this should these events should continue in future. Thank you.
Okay, Pooja, I think we can conclude the session.
Yes, thanks to all of our esteemed panelists today, who has been here and shared their rich insights. So before ending, we would like to present all our esteemed panelists token of gratitude certificates, if that can be shown on the screen, please. Thank you so much, Alok Pandey sir, for being with us today and sharing your rich insights on the subject. Thank you so much, Amit Arora sir. Varun Kumar Baranwal sir, thank you very much for being with us at the panel today. Rohit Mehta sir, thank you very much for being with us. Nitin ji, thank you so much, Nitin Gupta sir, for and as a token of gratitude, we present all of our esteemed panelists these certificates. Thank you so much, all of you, for taking out time for this panel discussion.
Thank you all. Thank you, Pooja, for inviting me and being the moderator. And I sincerely thank all the panelists. And in future, if I have a opportunity to meet you when I'm in Gujarat, I'll reach out to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Digital technology is transforming the way we live and work. So when the startup has an idea to serve the freshest milk, they tie up with the dairy. The dairy live tracks the cow. The cow's health is monitored so closely that the farmer knows exactly when to get the best quality milk. The dairy delivers the freshest milk to the school, which works with the government to analyze data and predict possible student dropouts. The kid is happy to see his dad after school, who gets an alert from work. He chats with the boss and solves the problem before it happens. The boss gets a notification to check out the latest car in the market. He gets to customize and buy it instantly thanks to the online sales support provided by the bank. The sales girl finishes work and walks into the store to buy an outfit to wear to the evening match. The The match is on full swing. The player hits a six. His fans go wild. And when the day is done, his smart health monitor predicts exactly when his body needs the freshest milk in town. It's time to embrace digital transformation and be future ready. Digital technology is transforming the way we live and work. So when the startup has an idea to serve the freshest milk, they tie up with the dairy. The dairy live tracks the cow. The cow's health is monitored so closely that the farmer knows exactly when to get the best quality milk. The dairy delivers the freshest milk to the school, which works with the government to analyze data and predict possible student dropouts. The kid is happy to see his dad after school, who gets an alert from work. He chats with the boss and solves the problem before it happens. The boss gets a notification to check out the latest car in the market. He gets to customize and buy it instantly thanks to the online sales support provided by the bank. The sales girl finishes work and walks into the store to buy an outfit to wear to the evening match. The match is on full swing. The player hits a six. His fans go wild. And when the day is done, his smart health monitor predicts exactly when his body needs the freshest milk in town. It's time to embrace digital transformation and be future ready. Digital technology is transforming the way we live and work. So when the startup has an idea to serve the freshest milk, they tie up with the dairy. The dairy live tracks the cow. The cow's health is monitored so closely that the farmer knows exactly when to get the best quality milk. The dairy delivers the freshest milk to the school, which works with the government to analyze data and predict possible student dropouts. The kid is happy to see his dad after school, who gets an alert from work. He chats with the boss and solves the problem before it happens. The boss gets a notification to check out the latest car in the market. He gets to customize and buy it instantly thanks to the online sales support provided by the bank. The sales girl finishes work and walks into the store to buy an outfit to wear to the evening match. The match is on full swing. The player hits a six. His fans go wild. And when the day is done, his smart health monitor predicts exactly when his body needs the freshest milk in town. It's time to embrace digital transformation and be future ready.
That was a very thought-provoking panel discussion where the esteemed speakers not just talked about the initiatives that were taken to tackle the challenges posed by the pandemic, but also spoke about their pain points in terms of infrastructure development. I now invite Dhruv Soni, Technical Sales Professional, Microsoft India, to give his presentation on reimagining collaboration through empowered frontline essential service worker. Over to you, Mr. Dhruv Soni.
Hi, thank you, Priya, and good morning, and thank you everyone for joining the call. I am quickly going to be sharing my screen so that I can bring up the monitor over here. Just give me a minute here. Right. So I'm going to quickly present over here. And hey, I do understand that like everybody here in the world is looking at the time when we are moving into the digital world. To give you a quick introduction about myself, I'm a technical specialist in Microsoft who is actually responsible for all modern workplace related activities, where it not only comes into the mail and messaging, but it also comes into the collaboration part. So my today's session, I'm going to go ahead and speak about how things are going to be looking into the future. So Microsoft has got the ability to go ahead and move further in addressing all the uh, three layers of the organization, which could be like an executive branch, information worker, or the frontline worker. Microsoft has been able to go ahead and have the digital journey being addressed to the frontline workers in such a way that we have been able to provide you the digital services to gain the citizen support or across the demographics. We are going to go ahead and modernize your IT and reskill the employees into the new capabilities. By that, what not only means is that like you would be looking into the collaboration, but you would also be looking into a much more optimized collaboration. That would be like could be the examples could be that we are doing a co-authoring, or we are trying to go ahead and present our frontline workers the capability that they would be able to go ahead and have their information being more productive and their activities to be more accurate as per the organization needs. As we are growing more into the technical world of in the digital world of transformation, we are trying to go ahead and understand that the expectations of our customers or the expectations of the daily businesses are now getting increased, and it is and the prices are going rocket high. So the frontline worker information that what we are offering to our customers is not only budget friendly, but it also provides you the level of collaboration, the usage of tools, the security at the time of using that particular tool, how secure you want to go ahead and use it. Even if you are trying to go ahead and use the collaboration activity on a mobile phone or a laptop or an iPad or any other device, even if it is a meeting room device also, you would be looking into go ahead and have the digital transformation to be done in a much more secure format. I do understand that when we talk about the technology, the digital world, everything sounds so complex. When we are trying to go ahead and look into the daily activities about how the frontline workers or how the field workers are actually going to be working in the world, um, things become really complex because people do not understand things. And biggest thing is that like the adoption part, where people are not able to take it further due to the hesitation that they don't understand the product. Having that been said, we have addressed that component as well. We are trying to go ahead and have having all the complex architecture, or how the complexity of the usage for the particular tools is going to be meeting your regulatory requirements as well. So that is not only going to be looking into having data at rest or data in transit to be more secure. We are also going to go ahead and have it been embedded with your regulatory requirements, which would be having your governance to be much more effectively utilized. Having that been said, we are looking into have our frontline workers to be more empowered. So these are few examples that what we actually go ahead and have a communication at the time when we are speaking to our customers to understand that what is the way that they would be able to have their frontline workers be more onboarded to the tools, and how they would be feeling more productive at the time. Because now productivity is a quite a vague term. We can go ahead and have productivity being related to any of those activities, be it like in the skill that what they are using at the moment, or even if like if I am going to go ahead and provide them an application or a tool that would be making that skill to be much more automated. So having that being said, we are trying to go ahead and rethink the digital world of having the productivity and collaboration both coming together under the same roof. We are trying to go ahead and have the collaboration being done in such a way that the frontline workers would be able to go ahead and have much more of a messaging environment. They can do video call, file sharing. Not only that, we are also trying to go ahead and bring Microsoft Teams, which has got the capability to be more productive and collaborative, where you would be able to go ahead and have the frontline workers to be understanding that they can use a walkie-talkie kind of an application where they don't need any other components to be going ahead and looked into. So not only that, you would be able to go ahead and have your breakout rooms, your audio video capabilities, your secure accesses for some of the people who are not even a part of your organization still joining those kind of a Teams meeting. We are looking into having the productivity being increased according to that. Having that been said, we are looking into having another component being addressed, which is going to be digitizing the government's daily activities or the operational activities, which could be through the customized applications that would not only be having an automated workflow, but will also be falling back onto the first tile, that is about the production or the productivity and the collaboration. These custom applications are like shifts, task, approval, automate, forms, poll, survey. Is it's something that what you can read on your screen at the moment. But what I do understand with that with this is that like looking into all the government sectors, we are trying to go ahead and have our applications being embedded into the daily operational activities, which is like shifts or task. So we can go ahead and have our shifts being managed by the administrator itself, who would be able to go ahead and have all the activities being looked into under a single roof. These people can go ahead and assign a specific task, and unless and until the task is being completed, the constant reminders will keep on going into to the owner of the task, and they would have to go ahead and start performing onto things. Having that been said, we also have a tool to have our frontline workers been working through which is called as Power Automate. Power Automate, you can go ahead and consider this as a low code, no code scenario where you would be able to go ahead and embed your workflows in such a way that how things would be moving further, you would be able to go ahead and have your automation process being much more effective, and you would be looking into the lesser amount of paperwork. With that being said, moving on to the next style, I have got the most pain point of the organization is about how to go ahead and have my frontline workers being understanding the process of how things need to be working. They want to go ahead and train their frontline workers, upskill them on board with the new activities or the new operational tasks which are being assigned into the organization. We have got so many supporting tools which are available for that. We can go ahead and have a live event that is something that you kind of are using at the moment, where the kind of a broadcast meeting happens, the presenter talks and the other people listens only. There are other Teams channels, Yammer communications, like internal communications that would be posted out like a broadcast message. You would also be looking into understanding about how that particular device works. Like if, say, for example, if an oil organization goes ahead and procures a new oil filtering tool, and they want their frontline workers to be aware about how things need to be working, they can always go ahead and have those videos being created and being streamed across, so that people would be able to go ahead and have looking into things in a much more productive way. Moving further, if I have been able to go ahead and train my frontline workers, I need to go ahead and strengthen my employee culture and community. Being said, I have my personal interest in this particular activity, because I do see my transformation happening at the time when the culture inside the community is going to be much more employee centric. So having that been said, we are looking into having a few things been embedded, like say for example, somebody done a good job, you go ahead and send them a praise or a kudos through your Office 365 application. They would be able to go ahead and feel respected, and they would be getting motivated for having other activities to be done parallelly. With all that being said, I would say the big boss of the frontline worker activity is the security, where they would be looking into, because these guys do not understand the technology onto the back of their hand, and they don't uh, know what kind of a damage their devices could be doing if they are not using those particular tools, or using corporate tools in a much more secure manner. So for that, we have gone ahead and taken a step ahead to have much of the security being embedded inside those tools itself. Those security components are like Azure Active Directory that you would be looking in for the identity and device access management. So you would be able to go ahead and have your devices being enrolled into the Azure Active Directory. You can have the conditional access policies being applied. Like say, for example, somebody steps outside the corporate network. I can go ahead and have I as an administrator would be able to have a capability to go ahead and have my devices or my corporate communications not to be accessed outside the corporate network. So with as simple as like my geofencing, or I want to go ahead and have a proper device being brought into the picture. So gone are the days when the companies used to provide the mobile phones to the users. Now everybody comes with the concept of BYOD, where they bring up their own devices and they try to go ahead and have the corporate communication being added into that. So we can go ahead and have all the MDM policies or MAM policies, which comes with Microsoft Intune, that would be able to go ahead and provide you all the information of security. So say, for example, I can go ahead and have a policy saying that unless and until you have a 6-digit password being set up on your mobile, you are not allowed to access the corporate communication. You need to have a Microsoft Authenticator app. You need to have a multi-factor authentication being enabled. You want to go ahead and look into having your device storage being encrypted as per the corporate policy, so that you would be able to have your devices being protected, and the data of your organization could be it could be much more secure. And whenever the data is being accessed, it has been considered to be having a proper residency, so that it does not get leaked out for any of the corporate communications. Having that been said, internal and external communications is the backbone of our organization, or I would say that any other organization in the world that we would be looking in. Here, we would be able to go ahead and have our internal communications either being done through any of the tool, or what Microsoft is offering in the frontline worker is through Microsoft Teams. So in Microsoft Teams, you would be able to go ahead and create your own private channel, public channel. You would be able to communicate in the real-time world scenarios. When I'm looking into the frontline worker, like you seeing and in picture that what I'm sharing over here, you would be able to see that there's a walkie-talkie kind of an application that has been inbuilt into it. So now people don't have to keep on running around to see how the communication being done through any other handheld devices. They can use their own mobile phone as a walkie-talkie application, where they would be able to communicate with their peers over the field. So it all happens over the Teams, and when it connects over the internet, your data at rest is, I'm sorry, data in transit is also secured. So we have got multiple things that what we would be looking in is like Microsoft Teams, where you see in the middle that there's a picture that talks about like the communication of Microsoft Teams is going to be as seamless as it is happening on a mobile phone or a Teams meeting room device. About how the video clarity and how things would be working. You can see that there are a few examples of the use case scenarios which has been left over here, which says that like you would be able to go ahead and have all your law and order related issues, or any of your movement and deployment activities which are happening inside your organization. You would be able to go ahead and look into that as well. Not only that, with the Team's internal and external communication that you are looking into, all these logs, reports, communication has been monitored like in the backend. So the administrator would be able to go ahead and have a continuous improvement, or being some kind of an auditing if required, would be able to use those reports much more effectively. Something which is quite personal to me, which I said earlier about the train, onboard, and upskill. We do understand that the training part or the upskilling part is a continuous activity in any of the organization. Now, if there is a new process being introduced, if there is a new hardware that has been acquired, if there is any new payroll system, any new changes in the taxing, any new changes that is happening in the world of the daily operational activities, you can always go ahead and be rest assured that Microsoft Teams would be able to go ahead and have that particular tool being given to you, so that your communication to your frontline workers would be much more faster and much more effective. With that being said, your document collection or distribution, where you would be able to go ahead and have everything being brought up into the single platform. You would be able to go ahead and access your documents and don't have to keep on running around about where exactly the location of is that. So because if you have got Microsoft Teams and team being created, so the files, there's a files button over there which would be able to go ahead and give you kind of a one-stop shop experience for all the documents being available in a centralized location. You would also be looking into having your virtual onboarding sessions, because what I've seen in my past in couple of years, which has been quite learning for every person in the world, is that people do go ahead and have been looking into multiple changes going into the different department or going to a different organization. Virtual onboarding sessions, you don't need to have that particular person sitting in front of you to have all those activities being listed out. All these workflows, plans, and activities has been looked into, and the virtual onboarding sessions are going to be quite helpful to have your activities being done together. Now, that being said, you would also be looking into the training and development. So even if there is nothing new coming into the organization, still I need a refresher. I might be missing on to some of the process which I'm not being able to go ahead and follow properly. So there is a possibility that I need a kind of a refresher. I would be able to go ahead and have those training and development activities being planned across. I'm going to be looking into having my users looking into mentoring any other user about the IT champions, as a kind of culture. That is what I've seen in the organization, is that like you make a list of, or you make a group of IT champions who's going to be distributing the workload, or who would be distributing the training materials to the other people not who are not available in the same roof at the moment. So having that being said, the mentoring channels are quite effective, and learning and development has gone really up into the digital market at the time of having all these work from home or a non-work from home activity that is happening, and things are moving in a much more effective manner. Uh, we have been looking into the practice of having all the documents being brought up which are going to be necessary, how things need to be working, what are the policies, what are the procedures, how am I going to go ahead and find those documents. Everything now comes into the same roof at the moment. What you see is a kind of an animation on the right hand side, which is a kind of a mobile application that is either embedded into Microsoft Teams, or you can go ahead and have SharePoint as a kind of a website being created where your frontline workers would be able to go ahead and access all the documents on the go, even rather than living into the paperwork, which was pre-COVID time quite heavily dependency for the frontline workers. There's a small example over here. You can see that like all these things are being brought under the single homepage, where the policies, procedures about payroll, applying for a leave, medical benefit, opening, even as much as like opening a support ticket or an HR request ticket, everything could be done under the single application. This is one of the example of the application also that has been embedded inside Microsoft Teams. You can search in it, you can reuse the content, you can go ahead and refer to the content for the future activities, and you would be able to have your enterprise search also been happening in the same roof. The best part is that being said, of having all these activities happening, it is all secure, because you are accessing it with your user ID and password that is being managed by Office 365, where you would be able to have your administrator been applying the security uh, to your credentials. So having been more productive, and that too in a much more secure manner, is something that you should be always considering in terms of having the frontline worker, or having a digital journey through Microsoft for your frontline worker to be making more sense for you. With this, I come to the end of my session over here. I'm going to go ahead and pass on the baton back to the lady whom I was speaking earlier. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dhruv Soni, for shedding light on how frontline workers can be empowered and productivity enhanced. That was really interesting. Moving on to our next presentation, digital technology enabling connected citizen service. I invite Amit Bansal, Senior Product Marketing Manager, Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, Microsoft India, to please take over.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to meet today and talk about how Microsoft Dynamics 365 can actually enable connected citizen services. If you can move to the next slide, please. So before we do a deep dive that how Microsoft Dynamics can actually enable the citizen services and the connected part of the citizen services, it is imperative for us to understand that what is the current landscape. As we all know, that digitization is happening and governments are under tremendous pressure to keep up the things like digitally engaging citizens, collaborating across organizations, building a millennial workforce, and controlling costs. And with all these challenges in mind, we also have to bear in mind the cost factor. The cost factor is something which is becoming a big issue now. Costs are being pushed up because there is a higher standard and a wider variety of public services, which are further driven by increased customer experience expectation. At the same point in time, we also have to be mindful about securing our data. So, a government across the globe have always worried about security and privacy. And in an online world, given the recent data losses, government insiders feel that security has moved front and center as a top concern of governments. And that is why the increase in digital technology means, which you can see in the next slide, would be that there would be some common points for a department, for a government, which you guys must be facing or experiencing. And probably some of them would be on the side of increasing demands for mobile access to government services. There are certain legacy systems which actually makes it difficult to collaborate across organizations. Millennial workforce, they are interested in government services, but they expect a modern workplace. The budgets is also is a challenge for us because the budgets of the governments have not been increased, specifically with the increasing demand of government services. And last but not least, compliance requirements and security risks. So these are some of the challenges that every government, every department is facing, and therefore it is important that to undertake operational improvements in order to boost productivity, certain measures are taken so that a clear performance target and transparency is maintained with the citizens. Now, this landscape is opening up new possibility for government agencies to increase productivity and collaboration, and hence a new innovative idea to connect digital services with citizens and benefit society is needed. If you could just move to the next slide. How are we doing with the new approach? Now, first thing first, we have to understand that how are we giving our citizens a secure way to connect to all the government services. At the same point in time, we have to see that how are we building a trust with superior customer services like 24/7 customer portals. How can we also empower our employees to do more with fewer resources? Typically, I'm talking about the optimization of the workforce. Also, we have to see that how can we control costs with all the long-term planning and optimization of the current resources in hand. At the same point in time, with all the data that we are getting from various sources, we have to see that how are we making informed decisions. And we also understand the citizens' needs, which are actually changing every minute, every second. So let's take a deeper look through the lens of Kavita, which is just an imaginary citizen story. And we will see in this story that how Dynamics 365 can come into the picture and also improve the experience which Kavita, a citizen in the constituency, is facing. Just moving on to the next slide. Now, as we all know, the top priority for any government is improving the lives of their citizens. Today, government need a solution that can help them engage with citizens, empower employees, and optimize government operations like story of Kavita. Over here, Kavita is an environment enthusiast who enjoy the outdoor beauty. When planning her next biking trip, she easily purchases a park pass on her mobile phone. After she purchases this park pass on the mobile phone, Kavita is now a few clicks away from accessing up-to-date information about the park hours, cost, and activities. When Kavita arrives at this park, she discovers a giant mess on her campsite. With a digitally enabled government, Kavita can snap a photo on her mobile phone to submit a request for cleanup, and from mobile device to call center, Kavita can connect securely everywhere with just a click of a button. Automating government system means today using less resources, reducing human error, and also giving employee back valuable their time. Over here, the park that we're talking about can quickly evaluate the scope of Kavita's incident and speed issue resolution. The technologies can make it possible for any government agency to achieve their desired outcome at the right place and the right time. Now, in this particular scenario, as we can see, the State Park Department can analyze Kavita's case, amongst others, to address the long-term need for garbage receptacle sensors, which can be an IoT device. And also, government can optimize long-term planning, control cost, and thus overall improve citizen sentiment. So let's take a deep dive into this Kavita story and see that how Microsoft Dynamics 365 can help here. Moving on to the next slide. Now, today's citizens demand a higher level of customer service, including the ability to access government resources with the tools that they use every day. First and foremost, our government has to offer the citizens a convenient self-service option with 24/7 help portals. An effective solution can actually help citizen engagement and participation with personalized, accurate, timely, and convenient service. And at the same point in time, we are also in a position to create a point of contact for citizens that can provide a one-stop shop for all their needs and concerns. Citizens can easily report a garbage overflow, street light outage, or even request an update on a driver license renewal on their mobile phone. So all these services make it easier for the citizen to search for information, submit service requests, even visualize the geographical location information, and monitor the progress of the active live cases. Additionally, governments can also save time and better manage resources by enabling multiple touchpoints for citizens. Today, governments have already discovered a cost-effective way to deliver high-quality citizen services. And by simplifying the relationship with citizens, government can eliminate multiple conflicting points of contact. Instead, we can provide them a one point of contact and a web-based portal. We can also centralize information and make most up-to-date information accessible to citizens. So we can create an online resource wherein citizens can look up the information about the services they need anytime, anywhere, even if they want to apply for a permit or a license or pay some kind of bill or even the fine. They can just go on this public-facing website and then they can give their feedback on that. With this, we are actually in a position to give you a one dashboard that can provide a familiar user experience wherein citizens can quickly go and easily learn about the government services that they are getting. Once citizens connect, government will be able to build that citizen trust. And with this, let's move on to the next thing that Dynamics 365 can offer. Moving on to the next slide. Now, citizens today demand a high level of transparency also from their government, which is again, by the way, what we have understood is a prime requirement. By consolidating information and effectively organizing it, an effective tracking and a search tool can also become very handy process for the workers who are able to generate information and provide quick and accurate information to citizens. To provide quick responses, the workers need to work securely from anywhere with the device that fits their needs. With Dynamics 365, it's more than possible to deliver fast and informed issue resolution with efficient collaborative tools. Workers can view live update of metrics such as request and completion date. They can also use maps to locate issue, and they can review any previous activity associated with the request. From initial interaction to end resolution, in case of Kavita, an aggregated holistic view of all the service requests in the park enable workers to respond to citizens' needs quickly and effectively. In all this process, Kavita stayed informed throughout the process with status notification, whether a citizen initiates contact by phone or submit a request over the web. An end-to-end service request engine handles all the required routing and workflow. With digitization, empower citizens to connect with their government on any channel using any device. Again, this is a feature of Dynamics 365. So new mobile solutions include rapid response, mobile communities for government, and social commands for governments. Let citizens connect through the channel of their own choice and respond to them through the channel of their choice. They may contact you through an application. They can ask that you send an email in response. They may also contact you through Twitter or expect you to respond via Twitter. So the key is engage on any channel with the citizen. The other thing which is also important is that how do we provide a common user experience? So government have to increase visibility across departments and increase citizen transparency. Government workers should be able to view cross-departmental information and can view a history of interaction with the citizens. The citizen should also be able to ask about the status of the permits or any kind of request that they have submitted, and the worker should check on that. We also have to see that there are no complicated set of processes, and all the information that a citizen demands should be readily available with the worker. In case of Kavita, it makes it easier for State Park to answer citizen requests other than Kavita simultaneously. And powerful reporting capabilities through dashboard and standard reports can also enhance the performance tracking and accountability of the service request. So that way, we always say that in order to provide customer service or a superior customer service, the government should always empower employees to do more with less resources. Moving on to the next slide. Now, this one is typically about the field workers who are supporting the government. They are the frontline workers also for us. Now, many field workers or frontline workers, as we say, they are forced to use outdated paper-based systems without access to real-time data. What if they never had to guess at what the next step should be? So paper flows built into Dynamics 365 today can actually enable you to drive to the outcome you want. Our governments can quickly respond with easy, accurate, and automated information to all the citizens. And as mentioned over here in case of Kavita, the moment she submits a service request through a citizen portal on her mobile phone, the request is sent to the field worker who can bring up the details on his tablet and find the location. Over here, Kavita can enter all of this data out in the field, and the worker can add note or images to the record once he fulfills or serves that request. And all of this information can be viewed across departments. So when a request is marked closed by the worker, the system automatically sends a response to the citizen, which is Kavita in this case, to tell her that it is now complete. At the back end, a work order is automatically evaluated and created for dispatch. Now, what it has done, it has increased agility as well as mobility, so that even the back-end worker or employees can also stay connected anytime and anywhere. We have to see that from any device, government can get things done virtually from anywhere at any time. And at the same point in time, the workers at the government end can also filter the request in their dashboard by status, department, or severity level. Other thing that we have to be mindful about is an effective solution which can actually help to enable cross-organizational collaboration. How do we create this kind of workplace which can embrace diverse work style by providing one user experience with real-time updates and access to information with insights into past customer interactions? We have to enable a one-case worker experience wherein we can provide a secure, holistic view of cases, consistent view of information regardless of where it is stored, and a defined workflow process that can guide all the workers through each stage of the case's life cycle. So we have to see that how do we empower our employees just to lead to a better long-term planning and also reduce cost of this. Moving on to the next slide. It is also important for us that how do we optimize resource management across projects and programs. That means we have to be mindful and conscious that how do we assign resources through a consolidated scheduling experience across multiple modes of services, just to ensure that right people on the right projects at the right time are placed. Additionally, we have to see that we prevent recurring issues and get to the root cause of the systemic problems with built-in intelligence. So Dynamics 365 has this artificial intelligence built into it, which can really prevent recurring issues. And that's where governments have to ensure that they are monitoring and preventing future recurring issues, similar to garbage overflow situation like Kavita's. And also, we have to see that governments get that system information basis initiation, planning, execution, control of projects, and service delivery. So all these informations have to be at government disposal from a single point of contact or single web console. And that's where your Dynamics project operations application connects government across three critical management domains: the sales pipeline, the resource management, and the service delivery. And that's where it helps manage key service execution process, including resource management and staffing, project management, and collaboration, just to ensure full coverage over the entire project lifecycle. By efficiently managing inventory and performing a preventive maintenance, today government can also ensure equipment is readily available and even prevent it before incidents reoccur. So with the technology that we're talking about, both at front office as well as back end operations, government today can streamline management processes and promote easy maintenance with the existing budget also. Also, with all these things, we should not be forgetting the compliance and the auditing concern, which is obviously a top concern for every government. So that's where we provide access to a full audit trail, ensuring compliance, and a full regulatory framework to access dashboards, BI reports, and other tools. Finally, a solution is needed that can actually let our government make informed decisions with a deeper understanding of citizen expectations. Moving on to the next slide. So let's understand that how do we also get better insights from the data which is originating from different sources and reaching government. Obviously, all this data is coming from the citizens who are communicating and driving some sort of change. Now, Microsoft self-service data tools provide a range of capabilities just to visualize that data and interact with that data, which can help further all the government agencies to understand the performance and identify the drivers behind the result of that data. So what we need an effective solution which can help you make data-driven policy decisions based on actionable insights. And again, in case of Kavita, wherein that garbage overflow incident was reported, installing IoT sensors into that garbage receptacle shows a shift from case-by-case request to preventive maintenance. With extended visibility into that data, government leaders and employees can extract deeper insights to make more informed decisions, which can help better serve the community and citizens. And they can also review departmental activities and get greater insights into the performance utilization report that are visually compelling and interactive. Basically, they are related to or linked to a data source at the back end so that everybody stays updated. We can also have a flexibility to filter by type of request if we want to have a better insight of it, so that we can get or gain a better understanding of where to focus our resources throughout the city. So which departments are handling the most requests and which department sees the most trend is something which would actually help you to go and take some preventive action rather than reactive action. And also, it is important that now government shift from reactive to proactive processes just to address long-term citizen needs. In case of Kavita also, which has now, the overall scenario has improved by increasing overall cleanliness, long-term citizen sentiment. We can also leverage Power Apps and Microsoft Power Automate to compose new apps and easily extend and modify the existing ones, just to see that there is a requirement to create some new service model and new technological trends. So that way, Power Apps and Power Automate can really come in handy just to extend and modify the existing application. And by tracking all the social sentiment, using insights into the citizen preferences and behaviors, we today are also mindful of all the social information we are getting and which is also needed by government about their city. Basically, governments want to understand sentiments across the social web. And that's where, it actually provides an opportunity for them also to post questions and get feedback in convenient ways that can match the lifestyle of an individual or a citizen. So with Dynamics 365, we are in a very good position to offer a secure, compliant infrastructure, which is really essential to protect government services and data. Moving on. As I said, with Dynamics 365 Intelligent Business Application, we are in a position to facilitate Microsoft vision for digital transformation and digital transformation is not just about technology. It is also a business strategy that requires a government leaders to re-envision existing business models and embrace a different way of bringing together people, data, and processes in order to create value for their citizens. So for us, digital transformation means how we are engaging with the citizens, how we are empowering the employees of the government, how we are also optimizing government, and last but not the least, how do we transform government services which are already there. So these are some of the things which can definitely be changed once we deploy a solution like Dynamics 365. Moving on. So just in case if you have any such requirement, please feel free to engage with us. We are definitely keen to engage and give a solution presentation and also do an envisioning workshop in your environment wherein we can come and simulate the environment that you're running. This way you will be able to see that how Dynamics 365 will actually help you in a better way and also do the digital transformation in your entire setup. With this, I hand it over back to the Elets team. Thank you.
Thanks, Amit Bansal, for sharing with us the solutions available for the challenges being faced by governments across the states and the center as well. It is very true that government organizations are under tremendous pressure to collaborate across organization to enhance productivity while keeping cyber risks at bay. Moving on to the next presentation, adaptive, resilient, and secure infrastructure solutions for digital governance. Azure, I invite Nitin Patel, Director, Azure India Enterprise Business, Microsoft India. Over to you, Mr. Patel. Mr. Patel, you are there? I think we're still waiting for Mr. Patel to join. Mr. Patel, a very good afternoon to you. Can
Yeah,
you
am I
hear us?
audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir. Over to you for your presentation.
Am I audible? Can you guys hear me? If you can give me a thumbs up,
Yes,
will
sir,
be
you
good.
are loud and clear. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Should I go ahead and share my screen, or would you be helping me out on that? Okay, I'll pull up the slides some moment, please. While the slide comes up, good afternoon to everyone. Hope you are all safe and well. I will kind of run through in the next 10-15 minutes on Azure and the space, the interesting space in the cloud, on how we want to scale up the infrastructure, the database and systems, and the IT systems across board. I just will start sharing it as I can. One moment, I can share it now. Are you guys able to see my screen now? Somebody can chat, post on the chat. Is this visible? Awesome. Thank you. So, this is where we see the shape of future for government. Customers 9x are, likely to trust a government agency. This is true in our lives. When you look at us trying to avail any services, whenever we see an option of government up there, if it was Air India, New India Assurance, LIC, the first choice is always a government entity. In the Uber principle is, intention is always to serve the larger community, and rather make sure the services are rendered rather than make huge unexpected profits, right? So that's the intention, that intentions are always positive, honest, and therefore services are always preferred across board. Look at how citizen services are going across. There is transformation move. The pandemic has accelerated this motion across board. There is a move to make sure everything goes digital, right? From forms you apply to forms online. Aadhaar has really made all our lives so much easier. You can get yourself authenticated across board. Uh, Banking systems are gone to a new level altogether thanks to RBI and NPCI push for UPI. All of this has really pushed a lot of citizen services up to the next grade. Today, if you look up, you travel outside of India, you will not see a parallel to UPI. You will not see a parallel to the banking system that we have. So all of this is really fantastic move that government has put across and is scaling across, and therefore it pushes the bar across for all other government entities and government related services to bring it up to that level, right? And therefore governance across citizen services, how you want to build your environment, how do you want to make it more agile, bring in the learning, integrate them across multiple systems, is all of that is coming through across board. With the Medicare system, again, pandemic teaching us a lot of in the process. You've seen a lot of predictive analysis coming into it. The taxation that is now coming into how we can make sure we capture the view across board and transform the process altogether is another dimension we are all talking about, right? So all of this is really shaping of the future for government and citizen services, that is making digital all the more meaningful. Are not just digital, the word is digital right now, where we want to make sure where we're right and tight integration across on physical services that are rendered across board and the services that are across purely digital platforms, right? So this kind of moving away to see how the digital transformation is panning out for us. So it brings in a lot of issues and how we can address some of them, right? How to manage uncertainties. We saw pandemic come and go, but does that mean is that the final one? We don't know, right? So it might manifest in some shape and form. How are we ready for that? How are we ready to redesign our services to suit the situation? Today, we pre-pandemic, everything was physical. You had to go to an office to fill up a form and all that. Now, all that across board, across all government department, all government agencies, that had to be stopped, and you had to adopt a digital way of rendering services. That meant in the back, you had to redesign everything all over, all the fly. How do you make sure you're agile and ready for such changes in the future, right? Second is around technology. Technology is evolving, so are the threats, so are the vulnerabilities, so are the ashes hills, as we like to call it, right? How do we make sure that while we do all of this, we are securing and making it more robust as we go along? How do we make sure that technology infuses a responsibility across? So, some of the technologies are really wonderful and they can do wonders both ways, in the positive way and the negative way also, right? You are open and have access to sensitive information like health data points of customers, of citizens. You know the banking details, the financial status of a person. That can be used in the positive and the negative way also, right? And how do we make sure that the technology adoption makes sure that it is responsible deployment, making sure it is for the good of the larger citizen, and people are avoided there are making sure that negative thoughts, negative ideas are curtailed, protected as much as possible. So that's the adoption, how we want to make sure that it's more responsible going ahead. The ability of data, now we have multiple sources of data coming together. How do we use that and build insights on what the citizens are liking, what they're not liking, how are they building their ecosystem behind, and leveraging it together is the way to look at, right? How we make sure that the insights learning are built into the new processes that are being deployed, right? The last one around, how do we make sure employees are being optimally used, deployed across board? At times they could come to office. Sometimes they may not be able to come to office. Pandemic has even taught that lesson strongly across, that we need to be flexible. That employees may not always be able to come to office, and they should be able to be enabled to deliver from where they are, and irrespective of what kind of connectivity, which place they are in, and what application they want to connect back into. The platform needs to be scalable, flexible, agile enough to enable all of that. So that's the dimension of digital transformation across board. So basically, we're looking at scenarios up here. What's the perspective? What are the scenarios that we have on board? Enabling remote access, cross-agency, multiple agencies wanting to integrate. We can easily apply for a loan, apply for an investment across board, and the Aadhaar and the PAN card gets authenticated. The two systems have come in very wonderfully together, right? How do you enhance that integration across multiple agencies? The other is around, how do you deliver trusted and secure services across board? All of this is really now bringing the bar on the trust and security to a next level. So therefore comes the outcomes, that how do you make sure that the society that we serve is aligned with what services we are looking at, and how they and where they are working today from. Making sure that the platforms are secure enough and doesn't hold back innovation. And it's very great that you can have a super secure environment, but then stop all new stuff, stop all new development coming. That's not really helping, right? How do we make sure that the security and innovation go hand in hand and enable a smoother, easier communication going ahead, and therefore build confidence for trust and platforms? The other is around, how do you build trust and compliance alongside as you build the systems across board. So while on one side security is great, there is a set of compliance that comes in different stages of business. Financial institutions have different set of compliances. Like healthcare institutions have a different compliance to adopt. And it's like the other systems, even the compliance is an evolving thing. Up until past, we were not too concerned about data of your mobile numbers, your personal data points. But now with the awareness going, the level has gone up. Now we want to make sure that when we share your mobile numbers, the numbers are maintained securely and not been passed across board, been used for responsible use for sure. All of that is now coming and building a level of complexity in the systems the way they are deployed. With this, we strongly believe across board that today across the globe, industries and government are looking at building platforms that are based on open source. So flexibility to deploy across board, aren't stuck with legacy environments, aren't stuck with the mercy of a few select partners or vendors for that matter. Standards are interoperable. You should be able to integrate between environments so that you have free and easy connectivity across board. The data models that you're building are using horizontal inputs across your supply chain, across the inputs that come back into the system. And the way we see this happen is one other platform for us is the Power Apps, which is a low-code, no-code platform that helps you build code very easily without too much of practically little or no coding skills, and integrating well into Azure, which is a platform that helps you deploy all such modern environments across board. And then we have the GitHub coming in, which is really a place where the community has built code. You can leverage what is already constructed, build upon that, and take it ahead to the next level. So that's how we see it grow, where, as government entities, you can build environment that is really at the scale, at the level, at the maturity that you would want to. Then we go on to how do we have this environment works together, right? So one side, we know there are investments already on board. There are investments in data centers and environment that are running today. ROI not completely met. They're still 1 year, 2 year away from retiring the assets, so to say. How do we? That's one level. Second is there could be some cloud adoption that's already happened on either an Azure or a competing environment. And then there is a requirement that's coming up greenfield. So how do we make sure that all of these three together come together as one single environment? That's where the Azure Arc comes into the play, where it's a wonderful platform to upgrade or enhance the level of modernization of your environment, existing environment, where it is, how it is deployed. A layer on top of it makes it more modern. And what it enables to deploy wonderful models like tomorrow, if you want to modernize and run database as a service, rather than create the whole process of a button, the SQL management Postgres system can be run. All of this is now easily available as a service with a few clicks on the platform on Arc. That's one dimension. The other dimension is the existing environment. How do we make sure that templatized? How do we make sure that it's a structured and a consistent deployment of the environment as per the global standards? So that's platform, same now available to be running your own data centers or on a third-party cloud also, for the matter. And then the third dimension is how do we get the signals that are coming in from IoT, the sensors that are out there, be it hospitals that are picking up data points, be it factories that are picking up data points, or smart cities that are generating a lot of volume of data there. How do we make sure that the relevant data comes back and gets integrated back to build insights onto what are the next actionable from them? How do we respond to the situation going ahead, right? So that's the other dimension of it. Then comes the way on how do we therefore look at innovation. Innovation can be clearly bucketized around 5 blocks. So one is the workforce. How do we make sure that they are transformed, they are able to deliver far better results and higher grade of results than they were before? How do we enable that? How do we engage the citizens, the customers, the entities that are accessing the platform in newer ways and making sure it's more effective, productive, and innovative at the end of the day, and be more meaningful for them to build across? How to make sure the entities that are helping the supply chains, how do we make them more efficient and creative? Then the supply chain that come in across board, how to make sure that we are all integrated well enough, making sure that we have the best in the optimum way. We don't spend too much of investments in inventory in the warehouses or on the road, on the trucks. So making sure it's a supply chain that's resilient to situations on the ground and more scalable in the on future. Then moving on to how do they all of this put together, making it more innovative service, building insights that are coming in across the systems that are there, and then delivering services which are a higher grade and the next level. Apps is the strategic asset that across board, across industries, and this is the sense that you're getting across board, that it's not really across industries. The virtualization in some shape and form is getting deployed across board. Assets may not be used primarily for a particular reason. You want to make sure that the asset is democratized, available for everybody, anybody across board. So databases that are picking data from a system are not limited to the user of that system. The other systems can also pull back data from them and get deeper insights. So to call an example, the CRM system pick up insights on what are the feedback of the customers. Now, if that input goes back to the team that is delivering the services, creating the services, it is much more meaningful. And therefore, integration really helps to scale up those level of service to the next level, right? Insights into particular counters, ticketing counters at a particular office is overstaffed, whereas the other one has understaffed people, right? So maybe even simple stuff like this can really help and elevate the set of citizen services to back to the consumers. So that's where we believe that in innovation comes in, and how you make sure their applications are modernized, their environment is ruggedized, is set up on standard platforms that are created to deliver a higher level of service, uptime, and scalability that are required in today's world, right? So one is to build systems which are on DevOps model, where you are instantly able to respond. We saw this come very strongly across board when the pandemic hit us. Multiple state governments came back to us that you want to launch a COVA app to address contact tracing, to address how they will help the supply chain for the the hospital across the state, and so on and so forth. So all of this has really sprung up so quickly, and we're really amazed with the pace at which government reacted to the situation. So that's one, the DevOps part, how you can bring agility into the system that you want to deploy. Integrate across systems that today, for example, a lot of the customers of ours use Teams as an environment to interact or collaborate, and how to make sure the IT systems are integrated with Teams and make it more richer and meaningful for the users. The other is existing applications. What do we do to make them modernized? For example, a lot of banking systems today deploy APIs to pull data back from one system into the other. So that is existing legacy system now modernized through API interfaces. Or it could be chatbot or robots that can really pull up data back from legacy systems to make it to the user seem like it's a modern system at the end of the day. The other side is when you deploy new application, new use case, how to make sure that we have already factored the best case with the best business practice across the globe to make it more robust and stronger as we go along. So we don't have to find a workaround to make it more agile at the end of the day, right? So that's the way we want to see the innovation come in strongly across board. So therefore, we believe at Microsoft we have the best options for you to pick up from. One, we have a huge community of developers who have been helping industries across board to build solve solutions for their business challenges, for their situations that they have. So there is one set of industry that's there. The other is the GitHub, which is a strong repository of code that has been solving a lot of problems across board. The platform Power Apps, which is helping our customers to build environment which require very little coding experience. And then the Visual Studio environment to test out, to make it more ruggedized, and then run into production. So that's how, and finally Azure to deploy all of this as we go along. So basically, from left to right, this is what we really believe, that we are able to, integrate across from AI services to AI tools to Power Apps for powerful infrastructure, to connecting to environment which are on premises or on the edge or on the cloud or built for specific AI environments. So that's the other block of it. And the other side, we have the cloud, which is a trusted cloud, which is AI ready and being available through a bunch of partners which are servicing across industries, including the government space. So that's where it's a culmination of the three, making sure that we are able to enhance this experience, the services back to our customers across board. So here's a quick case study for health and safety tracking, where we did a contact tracing environment for a few. They were in the pandemic stage, and how they were able to respond and build in their support their IT systems. So at times there was a use case back in South Africa where they were falling short of staff to respond to standard health guidelines to their citizens. So they used a lot of chatbots to respond back, so that a good amount of workload was taken away from the people that are manning the desk. So that's how we could really help a lot of government entities to modernize and go to the next level. So again, a detailed work on how the whole model works across board, starting from where the data points are picked up. If it's a smart city, you will have cameras spread across the country, spread across city and entities that are picking up the data from. And then how this all comes together to form a very intelligent system at the end of the day for the users, for the management team to run through day in, day out. Beauty of Azure is, while on one side the innovations are enabled at scale, we have a bunch of securities and compliance that are there that helps most of our customers across industries, across the globe, across geographies to meet their compliance ask. So right from standard compliances to regional compliance like METI in India and bunch of others in the other countries, to industry specific ones. If you are in the credit card payment business, then PCI-DSS is a critical one. If it's in the healthcare business, HIPAA is a critical one. HITRUST is another one. So those are the ones that really help our customers across board to leverage and deploy the systems in a more compliant fashion. And GDPR also and we are really gearing up for the PDP as it comes along. So basically at the net, we have all of it to offer from an IT standpoint. The fundamental is the building block on the infrastructure, the network storage and security, and then we build on the platform services that are making experience much more richer and flexible, to call out the database as a service, the app dev services that we have, mixed reality, all of that is really making the service to the next level. And then to connect the edges where you would have IoT sensors, you will have servers running in the field, which can come together to offer a much more richer connect across board. So that's the environment we are creating on the Azure platform, and it's really meaningful to look at how it really helps our customers and could really sit across a table and see how we can help you in your specific use case. So this is really what I had to cover in a brief. And maybe I'll probably take a few questions on the chat and we take it up from there. So, like I was calling out on the question about pandemic accelerating shift in the public sector, we see a lot of shift coming in across board. Like I was calling out earlier, COBA apps coming in. All of a sudden, we had to respond to situations. We see a remote work is a strong one. We have a platform called Azure Virtual Desktop, which really enables remote work for all our customers across board. So it's a compliant and secure way of delivering all the applications that are there hosted, irrespective they're hosted on premises or on a cloud, they are or they are on a private network or a public network. It's a way to enable remote work for their employees and in a secure and compliant approach. That's the way we really enabled across the board. What are the best sustainable way for public sector to embrace cloud technology? We have announced Sustainability Cloud. What it entails for our customer is any of our customer can log into their portal to their Azure subscription and can get a quick view on how are they faring on the carbon footprint. So today you can really look at and publish that as part of your annual report or compliance report. Here's my performance on the cloud computing side. Here's my carbon performance from that end. So that's really a nice way to enable compliance from a carbon neutral standpoint. We also have a plan to go carbon neutral by 2030 and positive beyond that. So that's the way we want to build our environments data centers across board. Building security and privacy into digital service is a leading trust indicator to encourage e-governance. What should be the comprehensive framework to achieve in the government sector? That's a wonderful question. We see this as a fundamental when we talk to any government organization, that you want to make sure that data security, data is supreme, is critical, but if it falls in the wrong hands, it really can create havoc for all of us, right? So one dimension is how to make sure data is secure in the first place. So unauthorized access, malicious intent, all of that is curtailed, right? What we really are good at offering is when we offer a cloud service, one doesn't have to take this up service separately. We know all our customers need it, and it's part of the service. Beyond that, if you want to customize, that's a different topic altogether, but the service is already there. Likewise, and then there are a set of services that you could possibly take beyond, like multi-factor authentication and stuff like that. That's really available as a service, as an option. That's one dimension. The other dimension is the data that is, one is the security, the second is compliance part. We spoke about the compliance that we had, a 90 plus compliance that Microsoft Azure has today on board. That really makes it easier for our customers, including the government customers, to respond back to their compliance at the end of the day, right? So that's the way to see it, that one, you have the secure environment, second, a compliant environment. And compliant to the extent that we are even gearing up to the PDP. We have already have a response back for GDPR. We are able to offer GDPR compliant services back to our customers. We are confident of doing the same when PDP comes in force. Further up, what should be the strategy to build and scale applications quickly while maintaining control, especially in the hybrid work model? Again, a great question. We had one of India's largest bank come to us and ask for a solution where they wanted to enable the developers. Developers, again, not part of the organization, they were third-party developers that they had contracted to connect to their environments and maintain their environment. Now, it's a banking environment, super critical environment. So they needed a very strong way of doing that. So that one way is around how do you make sure that the developers connect security in the environment. Second is how do you make sure that tools that are available to the developers are of the latest grade and are able to deploy environment as flexible, scalable, agile that we all spoke about, right? So if you remember a few slides back, I presented the model around GitHub and the developer velocity that we have, the communities that we have built, Azure platform, and the Visual Studio. That really is a platform that has helped a lot of our customers to build code, to deploy code, and importantly, build code without too much of coding skill or practically no coding skill using the Power Platform. So that's really helping us build strong environment for our customers across industries. Cloud as an enabler for smart digital, that's really we've seen across board use cases where one of the strong driver for cloud has been the government openness. For example, METI was a step by Government of India which enabled a lot of cloud deployment across. That is now going to the next stage as we go along. So that's really a great move that government has taken up. Yeah, are we on time?
Yes, time is almost over.
Thank you very much for patiently listening to
Do you
me.
want to
I
take
appreciate
questions?
I did most of the questions that are there on the chat. Yeah, I think I've answered all the questions that are there on the chat.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan Patel. That was a brilliant insight on how innovation is shaping the future of governments. Thanks for outlining the trends driving digital transformation. A very promising future indeed. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next presentation, which is also the last presentation, empowering everyone with local language, tech, and accessibility. I invite Balendu Sharma, Director, Local Language and Accessibility, Microsoft India, to please share his thoughts with us. Over to you, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you so much. I hope my screen is visible to you. Hello everyone, my name is Balendu Sharma and I work as a Director, Local Languages and Accessibility in Microsoft India. And I'm going to talk about how local language technology and accessibility are empowering everyone these days after the arrival of artificial intelligence as well as cloud technologies. And I hope that my screen is properly visible to all of you. The power of artificial intelligence fascinates everyone because it is transforming our world. Today, we have already discussed various dimensions of its impact in the governance and other areas. On my part, what I consider most impressive about AI is the role it is playing in making our world a better place for each one of us. We at Microsoft know it as AI for social good. The role of AI is visible in many diverse areas, including AI for Earth, AI for health, AI for society, and so on and so forth.
Like never before, our world is changing. Faced with some of our most critical challenges, human ingenuity triumphs. Today, the Microsoft AI for Good initiative enables a person with an idea to accelerate it, to give it scale, to create change for the better.
Microsoft AI will help our work by empowering people to take action.
Through AI for Earth, photos can now help save a species. With AI for accessibility, the visual world becomes an audible experience.
Sanitary and peanut butter.
And with AI for humanitarian action, first responders can target their efforts faster than ever before.
it feels humbling to know that I'm actually helping another human being.
Today, we are empowering others to forge new paths, to fight famine before a crisis strikes, and protect ecosystems by identifying forests down to a single tree.
We have the forest that we have today. We can't change that. What we can change is the future.
Microsoft AI is fueling some of the most passionate and creative people on our planet with the help of citizen scientists to make change once thought impossible.
Yeah, so this was once thought impossible, but now it is possible thanks to the power of artificial intelligence. Now, the modern technology is helping local languages and their users as well. And it is empowering persons with disability. The role that artificial intelligence is playing here is in breaking barriers and bridging the divides. This also relates with the governance where local languages matter as well as the people for all abilities. And we know that there is a 4% job reservation for persons with disability in the government sector, which underlines the importance of technology, especially in this area. As you may have already noticed in the video, we at Microsoft have been extensively using the power of artificial intelligence for social good. Local languages, especially Indian languages, are a priority for Microsoft from that perspective, and we are consistently rolling out modernistic features as part of Microsoft Windows and Office. Speech and translation technologies are now an integral part of Microsoft's flagship products such as Windows and Office. Microsoft Cognitive Services are a bundle of APIs that run over Azure and take advantage of the amazing power of cloud and artificial intelligence to deliver experiences which are not possible, which were not possible till a few years ago. As you can see, there are 5 major categories of these services, which are vision, speech, language, decision, and search. While developers can plug in these services as APIs in their own applications, these very services are also powering some of the most revolutionary features that you use in your day-to-day productivity scenario. And an interesting fact is that many times you may not be even aware that you have used a state-of-the-art feature running on the cloud in the background because you are only interfacing with your device. Such powerful experiences have now been possible in your own language as well. As Indian citizens, we are well aware of how important local languages are for each one of us. And hence, if cutting edge technologies don't arrive in languages like Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, and Bengali, we cannot expect to reap the benefits of information revolution as a nation. India is a country with amazing diversity. According to the last census of 2011, 93% people in India identified an Indian language as their primary or secondary language for conversation. This is a huge figure, which means that more than 9 out of 10 Indians are deeply connected with the local language. This is our reality and this is our identity, and hence local languages play an important part in the system of governance. In this great country, there are said to be more than 700 languages, and that's why we say that char kos par badle pani, kos par badle bani. Every 3 or 4 kilometers, the language changes. So this is that diversity that reflects in this country. Now, 22 of these languages have been officially recognized in the 8th schedule of our constitution. Interestingly, we are one of the top 5 countries in terms of number of constitutionally recognized languages, where we are in the August company of Zimbabwe, South Africa, Bolivia, Mauritius, and Singapore. The Union government recognizes Hindi and English as the official languages of the Union, while 16 states have their own primary official languages, including Gujarat. There are many central and state ministries that promote local languages and help in building an infrastructure which empowers those who prefer to work in local languages. Now, we have traditionally had a 3-language formula for for early education. And even in the new education policy of 2020, it has been emphasized that whenever possible, the medium of instruction until at least the grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 and beyond, will be the home language or mother tongue, or the local language or the regional language for both public as well as private schools. Clearly, local languages will always play an important role in our daily lives, in our businesses, in technology, as well as in governance. This is a very important aspect for Microsoft because our mission deeply aligns with the people and in turn with their preferences and their backgrounds. Our mission says that we work to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And when we talk about every person, it essentially involves every person, irrespective of what language the person uses, what background he or she comes from, and what are the physical or mental or learning related or other intellectual challenges that a person may be facing. I'm also referring to the Divyangajans here. We at Microsoft believe that there is no limit to what people can achieve when technology reflects the diversity of all the people who use it. There is one caveat though, that this power comes only if we use it. The persons with disability are a disadvantaged section of our society, and few of us are aware that 15% of the world population consists of persons with disability. This is a huge number, and naturally, no process of growth, development, or digital transformation can be successful unless and until this large section of society is genuinely included in the process of development. You will be happy to know that at Microsoft, we try to make all our products, including Windows and Office, accessible for persons with disability. Many of our assistive technologies can be used by just 1 or 2 mouse clicks. For example, if I have low vision, then I can just use the magnifier tool in Windows by just pressing Windows and plus key like this. So this is the magnifier tool, and I can take my mouse anywhere and everything below that part or beneath that will be magnified for me. So this is that easy for us to use these assistive technologies. If there is a person who has color blindness, for example, the person can just press Alt plus Shift plus print screen like this, and the entire desktop environment will change for that person. How it will happen, let me show you. And this takes just 1 or 2 mouse clicks. So this is how it happens. Now, in the background, my Windows has an entirely different color right now. So that is how it happens. If I go back again, just pressing Shift plus Alt plus print screen, again, this environment will change and I'll be better able to focus on my Windows. So that is how it happens. And it's that easy. Let's come back to the local languages. I can see that for the past 10 years or so, local languages are at the forefront of innovation and technological advancements. Seeing this, my heart and mind have started to believe that the time has come for the local languages. સ્થાનિક ભાષાઓનો સમય આવી ગયો છે. But you may ask, what actually has happened in these languages? What kind of technological advancements you are talking about? So let's discuss them one by one. So majorly what has happened in Indian languages can be divided into 5 major categories. First is text display. Right now, if anybody shares any file with you in any language which is supported on Windows, you don't even need to have fonts for that particular language in your computer, but still you will be able to see that text because text display support is there. So that is the first frontier. Second, text input and storage. Now it has become very easy to input text in a computer or a mobile phone in your own language. A lot of work has happened in the background to enable a local language user to be able to input text with ease on his computer and other devices. So that is the second frontier. Third is localization. And by localization, what we mean to say is that you can now convert the entire Windows ecosystem, the entire Windows experience into an experience that has local language at the center of it. So anything that is visible on Windows will now be visible in your own language, including Hindi or Bengali or Gujarati. That is localization. If you go to Microsoft Office, you can totally convert Microsoft Office's user interface and everything which is visible there to support Gujarati. Now even the edit, view, and other menu items, etc., everything of that kind will be visible in Gujarati language. So you can see that barriers are now getting addressed with the help of technology. Even if a person doesn't know English language at all, still that person will be able to work on a computer because the person knows Gujarati. So that is the third frontier. The fourth frontier is language utilities. All of us have been using various language utilities in English, like it is everyday thing, and we don't give any thought to that particular feature, like spelling check. That is so common for us. We just go to any word, we right click there, and we just see whether the spelling is right or not, if there is any synonym available there for that word or not. So these are very common in English, but do we know that these are available in your own language as well now? It is part of Microsoft Office. You can just go activate that in your own computer and you can start using that. So fourth frontier is language utilities. And now fifth is the artificial intelligence world. Now you can use many technologies which we never thought will be available in Indian languages anytime soon in Gujarati. And I will show some of these technologies to you. But what are these? You can speak to your computer and your computer can speak back to you. You can create text in one language and your computer helps to translate that content in Gujarati, or vice versa. So this is the power of artificial intelligence, which is now very well connected with your day-to-day productivity ecosystem, which involves Windows and Office and Microsoft Teams and other very popular as well as very common applications and suites. Now what has this essentially done is that it has made sure that a person speaking in any language or a person affected by any kind of disability can still create documents in Microsoft Windows as well as Office. They can communicate with ease. They can collaborate with people inclusively, and they can discover the internet and other content over internet as well as other forms of other sources of information, and they can consume content the way they want. So all of this is now possible thanks to the power of artificial intelligence and the work that has been done by Microsoft in these languages. Now I'll shift from my presentation to demonstrations, and I'll keep coming here as well as going there. So let me show you some of the these things in action. So first is, I talked about the language tools. If I go to Microsoft Office and I let me open just Microsoft Word, and if I want to use any language tool here, for example, if I type Gujarati, the word Gujarati, so I just go to my computer, and what I do is I choose the language which is Gujarati and I start typing here. You can see that I have intentionally made a spelling error, but you can see that the computer has identified it. It says that no, it is not the right spelling for Gujarati. You just need to right click here. And when you right click here, you find Gujarati, the word Gujarati in Gujarati. And now you choose it and you can use spell check in your own language now. So that is one example that I wanted to showcase to you. But there are many. Let me come back to my presentations once again. So I was talking about this, but there are many other things as well which have happened. Now what it has given us is that now everyone can work in their own way. For example, if I want to create a document, and I might be a person using a particular language, or I might be a person with a particular disability, artificial intelligence as well as accessibility, which is part of Windows and Office, it now enables me to work on a document in my own way. Like somebody might be very familiar with the typing in a particular language, that person can use the keyboard. That is one possibility. But somebody who is not able to, for example, use the keyboard, and there are many people, for example, people who have not learned typing in their particular language, that there could be one kind of a barrier. And people who have physical disability, for example, they might have another barrier. They might not be able to use the keyboard. But even in these situations, these technologies enable us to be able to create our documents. And how do they do that? Let me show you. In fact, what we have done in Windows is that we have even supported eye control, which is a feature that enables a person who cannot even move his body parts, who cannot even speak, who cannot even move his head. Still, that person can work on a computer by just his eye gestures. A particular typing panel appears on the screen, and the person only needs to look at a particular character, and that character gets typed in the background on whichever application or document which is open. So even with your eyes you can work on a computer. So you can see that the divides are going away thanks to all of these advancements in artificial intelligence as well as accessibility. Now let me give you a couple of demonstrations. Again, as I told you, that I'll be shifting between my demonstrations as well as I'll be showing you certain things. Now I was talking about creating a document. If I'm a person who wants to use the keyboard, I can do that, and I can just go to my taskbar, because I have added Gujarati as the language, and I can start typing here. So I can use Gujarati here. But what about the people who cannot learn typing, for example? What about the people who want to work in Gujarati but they don't have the liberty of spending time on learning how to type in Gujarati? So we have a solution to that problem. What you need to do is that you just go to control panel here, and in control panel you need to go to the language part, and an easy way to do so is just click here on the search button and type language here in the search bar. And this is applicable on Windows 10 as well as other Windows versions. So I say language and I get this result here, and now this particular page is displayed here. And if I go to if I click on this add a language button, all the languages which are supported on Windows are listed here. I can click on any of these, and then I can install that in just one or two mouse clicks. But I have already installed Gujarati, that's why I was able to type. So if you want to add Gujarati to your computer, just come to this place, add a language, and Gujarati will be added. Now, if you go to Gujarati, here there are many other options available as well. And let me show you what are these applications. For example, if I click on add a keyboard, there is Gujarati phonetic keyboard that we have made available. If you click this, the Gujarati phonetic keyboard will also be added to my computer, my Windows computer, and that is available here, Gujarati phonetic. Now, what it does is it gives us even more power to work in our own language. How? I go to this again to this place in taskbar. I choose Gujarati phonetic, and now let me type something. I'm typing in English language now, but when I press space bar, automatically this gets converted into Gujarati. So that is the power of technology. What about a person who cannot use the keyboard at all? What about that person? Will he still be able to use will he still be able to create his documents? Yes, he will be, because in Microsoft Office Suite M365 as well as Office 365, in the home tab you see dictation button here. Just click here, select your language and start speaking, and the computer does the rest. So I'm talking to you and I'm speaking in English language, and you can see that this is getting typed in Gujarati because my language of choice was Gujarati there. So let me delete this. Let me go to this place once again. If I choose any other language, for example, if I go to English, I'll be able to do that in English. If I choose Gujarati, I'll be do the same in Gujarati as well. So let me do that again. Hello, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying this session. Thank you so much. So you can see that already has been taken care of. If I go to Gujarati, which is just as easy as just clicking one or two times on a computer, and I just press this button once again and start speaking. Gujarati ખૂબ જ મીઠી અને સમૃદ્ધ ભાષા છે. So this is the power of artificial language that I was talking about. Let me come back to the presentation once again. I'll give you a couple of more demonstrations of this kind. The third is consuming content in various ways. Now imagine that there might be people, who may prefer to consume content in a particular way. We can read a particular document without any problem, but there are people who cannot read because these are the people who have vision related issues. And there are people who use a different language, for example. How will those people be able to read a particular document? That will be very difficult. But no, it is no longer difficult because cognitive services as well as AI makes it simple for every one of us to consume the document and content in the way we prefer. Now, so many possibilities emerge here. Number one, you can just capture a photograph of a particular document, and that, any text which appears in that photograph, that gets converted into sound. That is one possibility. So person who cannot read that person can consume that photograph in terms of in the shape of a sound. Again, if somebody is speaking and I cannot hear that because I'm a person with hearing disability, I can use technology to convert that into text, and then I can read it. So even if I'm a hearing disabled person, I can still read it. And what if I'm not familiar with that language, I can translate it. So again, let me show you a couple of examples here and demonstrations, and then we will move forward. So I come back again to Microsoft Word. My speed is a bit I would say that I'm more speedier because of the because thinking about the time that I might not take more time. So I wanted to talk about the translation part. For example, there is a person who doesn't know that particular language, but he wants to consume the document. Now it has become very easy to consume that and to address the divides of the languages. Now, this is one sentence that I have copied from English Wikipedia. And suppose that I'm a person who doesn't know English language. I don't know what it means to me. I just need to use the familiar application, which is Microsoft Word. I just need to go to review, and review, I find translate. I click on translate document, and then I just need to choose the language that I want. And let's see what happens here. So the translation part appears here. The source language is English. I want to translate this into Gujarati so that I can understand. I click on the translate button, and it will take hardly 1 or 2 seconds before it is translated for me. So now you can see Gujarat ભારત દેશના પશ્ચિમ કિનારા પર આવેલું રાજ્ય છે. ક્ષેત્રફળની દૃષ્ટિએ ભારતનું 5મું સૌથી મોટું રાજ્ય છે અને વસ્તીની દૃષ્ટિએ 9મું સૌથી મોટું રાજ્ય છે. So you can see that this is able to do that. Now, what about those people who want to consume this content, but they can't see, like people with visual disability, or again maybe people who understand Gujarati, but they don't know how to read the script. But it is very easy because first we saw speech to text in action when I was talking in Gujarati language, and the Microsoft Word was automatically transcribing that. But now let's go the opposite way, and now the computer will read out this text to me. How? I just need to go to view here, and here you will see a button called immersive reader. When I click here, what happens? Let's see. So this is the immersive reader, and I just need to click here on read aloud.
ગુજરાત ભારત દેશના પશ્ચિમ કિનારા પર આવેલું રાજ્ય છે. ક્ષેત્રફળની દૃષ્ટિએ તે ભારતનું 5મું સૌથી મોટું રાજ્ય છે અને વસ્તીની દૃષ્ટિએ તે 9મું સૌથી મોટું રાજ્ય છે.
So this is the power of these technologies. I can actually go to review here again, and here also you can find read aloud. So that is another way you can use this particular feature. Now, when we come to people and when we come to organizations, including the government organizations, there is one hitch in using local languages. And the hitch is that there are certain perceptions, like the local languages are not supported in many software or services used in our productivity environment. That could be one perception among us. Second is, to use local languages, we will have to procure expensive custom software. Third is, local language softwares are complex to use, require additional skills and additional training. And fourth is, local language software use might increase the cost with no productivity gains after all. So these kind of perceptions, they prevail among organizations and people. And maybe sometimes, because of these, we don't use those languages as much as we would love to. But if we come to reality, local languages, they don't require additional software, they don't require extra costs, they don't involve complexity at all. For example, if you want to use those tools that I described to you, you might not need any kind of training at all. You can just start right now. Just go to your computer, activate that particular feature, start working on it. If you want to type in Gujarati, you don't even need to learn typing. Just go there, activate phonetic keyboard, start typing in English, and that takes care of your work in Gujarati. So these are mostly perceptions. The reality is that local Indian languages work with most software and services we often use, which are from Microsoft stack, the familiar applications, Windows and Office, etc. Secondly, there is no extra cost involved because these features are part of Microsoft Office 365. They are part of M365 at all. So no extra cost is involved, no complexity, because you hardly need to learn, you hardly have any problem. You are using the similar interface, the same Microsoft Office, the same Microsoft Word, the same PowerPoint. You just select the language and you start typing there. So that's it. It is that easy. So finally, I would say that let's start leveraging these strengths of our products, because in one study I have seen that Pearson Institute says that mother tongue usage can improve productivity in the workplace and enhance social cohesion. So thank you so much. I hope that I have been able to share some good success stories in terms of artificial intelligence and the power that local language technologies and at the same time accessibility is bringing to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, Director Local Language and Accessibility, Microsoft India, for your thoughts and highlighting the role of AI in breaking barriers and bridging gaps. Thank you so much. That was a truly insightful presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
This brings us to the end of Elets Digital Governance Summit, Gujarat edition, organized by Elets Technomedia and presented by Microsoft India. The discussions have been truly insightful and have shed light on the seriousness of the government in driving initiatives to facilitate digital governance in the state of Gujarat. Gujarat has risen beautifully to the challenge of embracing technology to smoothly run the government operations as made necessary by the pandemic. The government-to-citizen interaction has improved dramatically in the digital era in Gujarat, with the government providing e-services. I thank all our esteemed speakers for joining us today and sharing their experiences and their thoughts with us. I also thank all the audience for joining us at Elets Digital Governance Summit, Gujarat. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
कई लोगों के सपने जिन कंधों पे टिके हों, उन कंधों को मजबूत रखना हम जानते हैं। इनकी उम्मीदों की जमा पूंजी को सेफ रखना हम जानते हैं। 50,000 स्क्वायर फुट की फैक्ट्री अपने 2 बेडरूम के घर से चलाना हम जानते हैं। नौ से 5 की नौकरी के बाद 5 से 9 वाला बिजनेस भी करना हम जानते हैं। किसी के ब्राइट फ्यूचर के लिए फ्यूचर का इस्तेमाल करना।
Dear Ms. Sharma, we are pleased to offer you the position of senior analyst in our organization.
हम जानते हैं। हम आज का इंडिया है बॉस, और इतना तो सब मानते हैं कि हम रुकना नहीं जानते हैं। टेक्नोलॉजी से देश की सुरक्षा में और आधुनिकता लाना हम जानते हैं। देश के हर कोने में अपडेटेड हेल्थ सॉल्यूशंस के होने की अहमियत हम जानते हैं। इनकी मेहनत की कमाई को सही हाथों तक पहुंचाना हम जानते हैं। खराब मौसम की सूचना सही समय पर रेस्क्यू टीम तक पहुंचाना हम जानते हैं। मॉडर्न तरीकों से किसानों की लाइफ में ज्यादा खुशहाली लाना हम जानते हैं। देश अपना डिजिटल है, इतना तो सब मानते हैं, इसलिए तो हम रुकना नहीं जानते हैं।
Digital technology is transforming the way we live and work. So when the startup has an idea to serve the freshest milk, they tie up with the dairy. The dairy live tracks the cow. The cow's health is monitored so closely that the farmer knows exactly when to get the best quality milk. The dairy delivers the freshest milk to the school, which works with the government to analyze data and predict possible student dropouts. The kid is happy to see his dad after school, who gets an alert from work. He chats with the boss and solves the problem before it happens. The boss gets a notification to check out the latest car in the market. He gets to customize and buy it instantly thanks to the online sales support provided by the bank. The sales girl finishes work and walks into the store to buy an outfit to wear to the evening match. The match is on full swing. The player hits a six. His fans go wild. And when the day is done, his smart health monitor predicts exactly when his body needs the freshest milk in town. It's time to embrace digital transformation and be future ready.